What up? What up? What up? It's your observant lineman. Waiting on some people to jump in here. No, I invited everybody. We'll see how much they really like me. We'll see. Taco freak dude. One sec. Ooh. All right. Go ahead and tweet this thing on out there. Tweeter. Come on, Tweeter. Do your job, Tweeter. Damn it. Oh, well. Oh, there we go. What up? I'm on dial-up video. What you mean?
Not on dial-up. Oh, there I am.
Oh, maybe you are. What's going on, Mark?
Not too bad. Uche, how you doing, man? You got a lightsaber?
Damn, I'm just over here practicing on my Jedi shit, you know.
I've got one of those in the basement. If we ever end up in the same country, we can fight.
Damn right, I'm ready. The oppression of the Sith will never return.
So you can finally see who's going to win in a lightsaber battle, the NFL or the Canadian.
Canadian League versus NFL. That'll be the day. We'll compete. Oh, oops. We got here. See you in there. See you in there. Make sure our connection's good, isn't it? Do I look clear to you? Mark and Mark. Uh-oh.
To me.
Is the connection
How do I look
clear?
on your end?
Do I look clear on yours?
No, you're
yours
really
was a little fuzzy, but
pixelated
it's
and moving.
coming. All right, let me hold on. Let me. I'm gonna hop out. You stay in for a second, and let me work on that. Might have to restart my internet real quick. AT&T.
Yeah, do what you got to do.
All right.
I'll adjust my mic and lighting. Hey everybody, how's it going? Like I'm actually not sure. Am I live on Uche's channel right now? Is anyone in the chat? Anyways, I'm Mark the Cyborg. I do gaming content on Geeks and Gamers, mostly doing retro reviews of Star Wars games. I might be talking to no one right now. I'm just going to quickly check to see if this is actually live. Okay, it looks like it is. And hey everybody, okay, yeah. Apparently I am soloing it right now. Hey, Fonz is here. How's it going? Yeah, Uche is actually just resetting his internet because it got a message from RK Outpost. He's like, yeah, it's all you, bro. I sort of thought that we were like still setting the stream up and that we were going to launch it once the technical have been sorted out, but it looks like I'm basically doing a Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast right now. I guess though I do have my phone here, so I can see the chat if anyone wants me specifically to be talking about something in particular. If anyone's got a question that I can riff off, that'd probably help. But it looks like even I'm on the laggy side here. Anyways, so I just was actually a couple minutes late on the stream because I was recording the audio for my video review of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which I had to replay the game for a third time in order to capture footage for, and it doesn't get any easier. It's still a very difficult game. I think I am getting better at it though, so that's good news. And over the next few days, I'm going to be working on editing the video and hopefully have it done by Friday, because that's when Fonz is actually going to come here, pick me up so that we can go see how fast can I run on my cyborg leg. My time for a 200-meter lap is around the 30-second mark. Like, so it's not super fast, but not terrible. Like about 15 seconds for 100 meters. I can sprint it to like 12, I think, for a dash from end to end, at least at the gym. But that's when I'm using my running leg though, and it's more like a cheetah leg. It's in the other room, and if I wasn't the only one on stream, I could go get it and show you guys. But Darth Emo, Josh Chandler, do you mean Kylo Ren? Or is that me? I'm not Darth Emo, am I? If anything, I'd like, if I was going to be a more niche musical genre Sith Lord of some kind, I guess I'd be like Darth Grunge. I can sing an Alice in Chains or Nirvana song if push comes to shove. I also got what's like effectively a short, kind of scraggly stubble beard right now. Mm-hmm. Kylo Ren. Okay, so my thoughts on Kylo Ren. I think that Adam Driver is a good actor. So I like the way that he is acted, although I think they don't know what the hell they're doing with writing him. He did seem like he was going to be a pretty interesting character by the end of Force Awakens, but like many aspects of The Last Jedi, I think the biggest problem with it was that they didn't really know exactly what they wanted him to be. Because I don't know if anyone here watches EFAP, but let's so apparently I'm to be singing now. But anyways, like if everyone says on EFAP, they say that Kylo Ren's one of the people you can't pick for the Rise of Skywalker contest on who's going to be the most inconsistent character, because Kylo Ren could literally be anything by the beginning of episode 9 at this point. Like it could open up and he could be plotting with Rey to take out the First Order because he knows that Palpatine's back, and everyone would just be like, Yeah, all right, sure. Yeah, I guess Kylo Ren could be doing that. So it's just, I don't know. There's not really a lot of meat as far as his character goes to sink into right now. Oh yeah, we want Uche to get a copyright claim. I was saying, okay, he's back. I won't get him a copyright claim. Uche.
Oh, let's see here. What's going on, Megatron Prime? I'm trying to get this monetization, baby. Trying to get this money. What y'all mean? Get in here. Watch this lightsaber work. This wrist work. We got this thing down. Don't burn yourself. Oh.
I feel like I'm gonna get hit with that thing. Some Mace Windu lightsaber. I'm dodging mirrored.
Party is over.
I do have a Boba Fett mask downstairs somewhere too, so I guess I could throw it.
Hey Jay, what up? Put that Boba Fett mask on. I hate bounty hunters. I hate them. Bring it on.
I am going to be working on a review of Star Wars Bounty Hunter for Geeks and Gamers at some point soon, so I guess I'll be sure I throw some good Mace Windu content in there for you.
Look who is that over there talking shit. Is that you, Ryan Kennel? Get your bum ass in here. Hey, I can't help it that AT&T is the only internet out here. I can't fucking help that.
I'm on rural Canadian internet, so it's
that's what I'm saying, dude. I'm out here in the country. All we have is AT&T.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be their fiber internet that I'm on. I paid like for the most expensive one they got.
Yeah, I got the most expensive one out here too. I'm supposed to be getting 120 down, but I usually get between like 60 and 80.
Megatron Prime is asking, so what would you do if you made The Last Jedi? Well, I wouldn't have made The Last Jedi. That's for damn sure.
Rewrote it from scratch.
Okay, you know what? This is cool. I want to talk about this. Hell yeah. So, if I had to think about it right now, The Last Jedi for me would have started off with, it would have picked up literally exactly where Force Awakens ended. I would have started off with Rey and Luke on top of that mountainside or that cliffside, and Rey would have handed Luke the lightsaber, and the lightsaber, he'd look at it for a few seconds, he'd look back up at her, and then he'd ask her, where did she get this? I mean, that would be the obvious first question, right? Where did you get this?
It was given to me by Orange She Yoda.
Yeah. And then, she says where she got it. And then from there, Luke, just kind of examines it with his robot hand, examines it. Then you see Chewie come running up the back of the from behind Rey. And then you see Luke kind of smile a little bit when he sees Chewie. And then he doesn't see Han. So then he kind of does a quick, look around them. And he's like, where's Han? And then you switch to the next scene. That's how it would have started.
Actually, I think that to me, cutting away there was one of the biggest mistakes they made. I think that we needed to see Luke's reaction to finding out that Han was dead.
Well, you come back to it. You jump from one spot to another, and you come back to it with her, with him standing there with a look in his eyes, and then Rey talks about Han didn't make it. He was killed by, Kylo Ren. And then Luke, tells her, no, it's not Kylo Ren. It's Bob. Bob, right?
Ben.
Ben. What a weak ass fucking name. Ben Solo. Man.
See, I don't know. I probably would have gone in a totally different route, because I think that the ending of Force Awakens, I think, could function well enough as a last thing that happened in that that time frame. And I think that just like Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, or even Attack of the Clones or Revenge of the Sith, come to think of it, jumping a few years in the future and having it like
you broke up a little bit. Restart a little bit from where you were.
I disappeared. So that we could assume that Rey has been training with Luke for an indeterminate amount of time, that they have been training together for maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe 5. Like the more time that you give, the more you can have interim content, the way they had Clone Wars or even Rebels between 3 and 4. And then you can have things happen like the First Order gain strength and gain control of the galaxy, the way they seem to open Last Jedi with, even though it was like, oh, their super weapon got destroyed and they were like a rogue guerrilla faction of essentially terrorists. But the first words in the text crawl Last Jedi is the First Order reigns. Like my whole thing is that like, wait, what? How did did Poe not just destroy their like ultra base weapon thing? Like how are they a galaxy controlling power? If you skip that amount of time, there's at least the ability for the audience to reasonably fill in blanks as to how and why that happened. And I think that it would have made more sense to have, say, Rey going toe-to-toe with like the Praetorian Guards towards the end of the movie, assuming we're going to like assume that a lot of the same things happen in the movie and we're just doing tweaking rewrites as opposed to like a full-on, let's start from the beginning of Force Awakens and redo this entire trilogy rewrite. And I don't know. I think that a time jump would have helped. And I think that if anything, it will help Rise of Skywalker quite a bit because there will be blanks that the audience can fill in. Whereas Last Jedi to Force Awakens, it was like the same day. There was like no time in between.
Jedi and Force Awakens take place in like what, like a 2 or 3 day span?
Yeah. So anything, if like they try to make a comic, they're like, oh, this happens in between The Last Jedi and Force Awakens. Be like, what? Like, is it 20 minutes?
So, okay, so let's look at it like let's take a 2 year, or let's call it a year and a half from the end of Force Awakens to the beginning of chapter 8. And we'll call chapter 8, instead of calling Last Jedi, we'll call it Star Wars Jedi, Star Wars Council Reborn.
Okay.
Council Reborn.
Assuming we might actually have some new Jedi.
Yeah, so that would be a new council. That kind of symbolizes Luke as the head of the new Jedi Council, and that Jedi, and with Rey as the first Padawan or of the new Jedi Council. I mean, what was the island? What was that planet they were on again? Octo. Octo. Okay, yeah. So Octo would be the new headquarters of the Jedi. That's where, I mean, since it's kind of got its, that's where the roots of, I guess that's where the old Jedi texts were. So you just kind of make Octo the new headquarters for the Jedi. This is where the new Jedi will emerge. And that new first Jedi Knight coming out of this new council would be Rey. She's been training for a year and a half. She's learned about a lot of the ways of the Jedi. Her training is now moving into advanced stages. In the meantime, the First Order has gained a ton of momentum since Starkiller Base. And that's assuming we haven't changed anything about all that. And now they've got half of the galaxy, half of the major systems in the galaxy under their control. And I mean, you could even go as far as putting what is it, Kashyyyk? Isn't that the Wookiee planet?
The Wookiee planet, yeah. Yeah.
The Wookiee planet, put them back under slavery. Have the First Order. Oh wait, somebody. Okay, hold on. Who's this? Eddie D says Anyone else catch Kathleen Kennedy till George Lucas's face? He will live on.
Yeah.
So that kind of this kind of speaks to the teaser that I have for you guys. It'll be coming up here soon, later on in our live chat, in our live video chat. I've got a little teaser for my next Geeks and Gamers video essay. I'm calling this video essay Fandom Menace Origins.
Nice.
And I already have a clip. I have a one, and this is what, a minute and 45-second trailer for it. It's not really a trailer. It's kind of the intro. But I think that you guys are really going to like it because, I was getting hyped when I was making it. I was like, oh, this is going to be so fucking tight. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. I loved your Chappelle video, man. I think actually it almost made it better because you guys probably wouldn't know this, but in the Geeks and Gamers YouTube chat that we have on Messenger, Uche just kept on trying to get the video edited so that Netflix wouldn't flag it, and it became kind of a thing I was following. So I was just like, "Oh, is it gonna work this time?" I was like, because I like that Chappelle special. I really like to actually see what Uche thinks.
Dude, I was not about to. And then I wasn't about to not put it out. Shoot, I was like, I don't give a fuck. We're gonna keep putting it up till they take it. I just kept chopping it up more and more and more until it was able to get taken by YouTube.
Actually went up though. I was driving and I pretty much never watch a live YouTube video while I'm driving because it has to be on data and my data plan kind of sucks. But that one I was like, oh, okay, this is happening. And watched yours as I was driving home to Toronto to visit my family. And I was laughing in the middle of it, even in the small clips that you did show, just because that special was so funny. I was like, oh man, maybe Chappelle.
Yeah, dude, I'm hyped about this Fandom Menace video. This one is really more, I've cut up mad small clips of all of the Star Wars movies. I got what's his name? Steven. Let me pull him up on my Gmail real quick. He's the cat. He's doing writing the Fandom Menace book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know the name, but I know the guy you're talking about.
He's on my email. I'm looking for his name.
I just seen it's the fix Force Awakens. Yeah, Fonz. That's why I was asking what the terms of our rewrite were. It's are we just rewriting Last Jedi, assuming Force Awakens happened the way it happened, or are we starting from scratch on this trilogy?
So let's leave Force Awakens. Force Awakens is, I guess Force Awakens is it's passable for a Star Wars movie.
I think that like many J.J. Abrams properties, it's set up enough mystery that if they delivered on the mysteries, then there would have been something there. But I think that the more recent takes on it have been pretty accurate. The trilogy happened from the
Whoa. Cyborg Mark.
By virtue of the fact it immediately we cutting out.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Oh, okay. You're back now. You're back.
I'm basically saying that a lot of the big problem is that it all an evil empire is sort of the dominant power. There's a rebellion and not really a galactic government force the way there's say the Republic in the prequel trilogy. And they just kind of did whatever they could to reset it to make it essentially the same conflict that the original trilogy was, just again. Yeah. And it's a different question to say, how would you rewrite this trilogy from the same roots? How would you grow this tree from the same roots and seeds that were planted? Or would you just rip it all out of the ground and plant something new,
No, I hear you, definitely. Yeah, and like I said, Yeah, you're right. They did set it up a lot like they set up, A New Hope. And I mean, I'm not so mad at that. I mean, it's a lot. There's a lot of copy and paste. There's a lot of just revisiting of the same tropes from the original trilogy's first chapter. And while it does leave a little bit of some mysteries and some surprises to be found out in a sequel, obviously we didn't get anything like that. So, and where would J.J. Abrams have taken episode 8? I mean, who knows, right? But I think we can piece it together piece by piece. So, I mean, we go from Rey getting about 1.5 years worth of training under her belt to, maybe Kylo Ren through connections with Snoke, through Snoke connecting Rey and Kylo. You then get kind of a leaking of where Rey is to the First Order, so, or at least to Kylo Ren. So he's able to then track them somewhat back to that island. I think that where the big battle should have taken part in episode 8, maybe between them, is in the island. Whoa, we lost him. Disney got him. They got his ass.
Oh, I'm back.
Yo, you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
Dude, Disney is all over your shit. They're not gonna let you.
Yeah, Josh
like, no,
Chandler,
you're not gonna rewrite shit. But yeah, so we'll tell you, we're doing our rewrite of the Last Jedi. We've changed the title to Jedi. What do we say it was? Jedi Reborn.
Our rewrites.
Huh?
The Council Reborn, you were saying?
Yeah, Council. No, Jedi Council. No, I don't like that. Let's change it to the Jedi. No, let's do. Star Wars. Jedi Resurgent. Jedi. Oh, what? Oh,
they already made the ones I'm back.
Yeah, you're in and out just with your audio, and you're freezing up.
I think it might just be an internet.
Maybe try. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It might just,
want me to try resetting?
Might just be jump out, then jump back in. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about a new title. What's going up, Benzo? What's going on, man? Or lady? Let's talk about a new title for episode 8. So I was thinking like Council. Oh,
what's going on?
Bagging son of a bitch.
Hey, I had to eat. I just wolfed down a burrito. What I got to say is, why y'all trying to fix this mess when episode 7 was bad enough to begin with? What the hell? What you think you're doing over there?
Oh, bring that shit. This party's over.
How's it going, bro?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Everybody, welcome the newly monetized RK Outpost.
That's right.
Oh,
man, what a
thing, Mark.
What a crazy stream last night.
Yeah,
it's a chair stream now.
You had a little celebratory stream, right?
I did. Yeah, I planned for it to go like 2 or 3 hours. I ended up going 5. It was kind of ridiculous, but it was awesome. I feel so blessed, man. It was great last night.
Sweet. I'm glad you got there, man. Shoot, that's what I'm trying to get as close as I can, or get there tonight. So everybody invite your friends to get into this damn broadcast.
That's right.
17 people. We need about 500 more people in here. So let's go.
You sure you're not just gonna get monetized with your 120,000 view video or whatever the hell it is?
Oh boy, I hit the jackpot on that one.
Yeah, to be honest, I do not understand why. Like that video of all videos to blow up. That's crazy.
I mean, who you telling? I'm over here like that's the most lowest budget video I ever did. I ain't even try on that one. And this guy, let me see where it's at. Shit, dude, that video
got to be around 20 by now.
Oh, dude, I think I'm past 20. On the page, it only shows 16,531, but on the analytics, it's showing 22,358.
Yeah. It lags way behind. You only notice it once you get something that actually like does big. But yeah, so you're Frank the Bunny 66 says Council of Water Sheep.
Yeah, I saw that.
I do. Bro fist for you, Council of Water Sheep. Get Feige, Sven, Jurgen, get all of them here. We'll do some Minecraft Monday.
Hey, I'm with it. Get them in here. Let your friends know it's the Monday Night Lights live.
That's true. So you're trying to come up with this new. This is the problem. You're trying to come up with this title for this new movie before you have a plot. So you got to figure out the whole plot and what it's going to be. Then you make your title off of that.
I feel like I make the title, then I make the movie off that.
Well, that's probably how Ryan Johnson did it.
No. So
he sat down, scribbled it on some Post-it notes, turned it in, and they made it.
Well, I mean, I would look at it. I would think that it would be a movie that follows along, that kind of plays with Rey in her training with Luke Skywalker. She finds Luke. Luke is still. I would give him some of that hermit personality that he had in the actual Last Jedi movie, but not the depressing, like there's nothing left for for the Jedi or for the Force but to go away. I think it would be more of a feeling as if he failed because of his inability to reach. I wouldn't even say that. I wouldn't even really make it to where Ben Solo was a part of his original Jedi temple that he was restarting up. I would have had him, go on a different path from the very beginning. Maybe as a young kid, he just was kind of in that Palpatine kind of mind state where he was just already intrigued with the dark side. So he never really had any kind of real desire to follow the light from the beginning. I'd make him a true Sith, and
instead of just this dude who's just like clearly conflicted, but all of a sudden is going to take over the entire First Order, whatever that means. So the problem to me when you guys are trying to fix The Last Jedi is I thought it was broken from Force Awakens. I think that JJ, although they did a great job marketing us this nostalgia and the music and the visuals and all that stuff, this universe that he made in Episode 7 is completely empty.
Oh,
what the hell is the? Oh man,
is that a Vader one?
Hey, we got them all going on here.
Is that a Vader? Is that Vader?
It is.
Where did you find that?
Yeah, we are all a bunch of fucking nerds.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
to be fair, I had to dig through my basement to find mine.
I have a Kylo Ren.
Oh.
I have Luke. I have Darth Maul, and I got Mace Windu. Those are all my lightsabers.
I got all of mine when I was working at Best Buy in like 2005, like around Xbox 360 launch, and I think that's when I got them.
Shit, dude, I can't find no Vader anywhere.
Yeah, those are a super popular one. I got the Obi-Wan Kenobi one.
Can't find Obi-Wan either.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I got Vader, the Anakin, and the Luke, like the Return of the Jedi Luke. But the Return of the Jedi Luke, I can't find the bottom for, so I can't put the batteries in. And honestly, the Vader one's just the one I tracked down before I found the Anakin Skywalker. So
I want the Anakin and the Vader. Those are the ones that I'm missing.
Those are my three favorite sabers. Anakin / Luke / Rey. And
it's Rey's saber now. If you go to Galaxy's Edge, it's in a little display that says Rey's lightsaber.
Yeah, fuck that. It's never gonna be her saber.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Anakin. It wasn't even really Luke's. Luke was borrowing it.
Well, call it Anakin's then, but don't ever call it Rey's because it don't belong to her. She ain't even related to them. You can call it Luke's because at least he's
for all we know, they might renege on that and Rise of Skywalker.
Well, no, she's gonna. Have you guys seen the new leaks?
Yeah, I saw the leaks.
The last one I saw was that she might be, spoiler alert, everyone cover your ears in case you don't want to hear the leaks. Last one I heard is that she is a relative of 3 seconds to plug ears for spoilers, Palpatine.
Yeah,
but that's kind of what that was one of my theories after Force Awakens, and I thought that would have been kind of cool. I think now it's less cool, especially now that it seems like they're bringing Palpatine back, which makes no sense.
Dude, the whole bringing Palpatine back thing, it breaks the entire fucking saga.
It breaks so silly.
So it completely breaks the saga. Think about that. It takes away the entirety of the
OT
of the power and the it takes away the entire climax of the original trilogy. It takes away the entire climax of the prequels. I mean, it doesn't even matter that anything happened before the sequel trilogy at that point. I mean,
both Vader and Luke's sacrifices are made irrelevant by it.
Yeah, completely irrelevant.
Luke deciding that he would rather die than turn to the dark side, and then Darth Vader deciding he would rather become Anakin Skywalker again and die to save his son than let his son die. Both of those totally irrelevant. Huh? Well,
yeah,
dude, I don't know. My parents want to go see it with me over Christmas break, so I'm probably going to go, and it would probably be good for the channel so I can talk about it with you guys and stuff. But I'm going to go into that theater just being like, oh God, this is going to be a piece of shit.
So,
if it's anything other than that, I'll be pleasantly surprised. So I guess there's that.
So the whole Palpatine thing, right? There's a story called Dark Empire that was done in the expanded universe in the early mid 90s, and the way they did that, the way they're doing it here is different. This one, they're saying that Palpatine survived the fall, which, to be honest, the Clone Wars kind of broke a lot of things in Star Wars when you let Darth Maul survive.
Yeah.
If you let Darth Maul survive after being cut in half and thrown down a shaft, like literally anybody can be alive. It doesn't matter. Anyone can be alive if Darth Maul can survive.
The big criticism I have been getting on my my amputation montage in the Jedi Outcast video is that like, oh, what about Darth Maul? I was like, hey guys, a transection is different from an amputation. Trust me. You don't live from that. No one walks away from a transection or a decapitation. Jango Fett did not get an amputation. Darth Maul did not get an amputation. Those motherfuckers died.
Yeah.
but so what the expanded universe did in Dark Empire was essentially like the spirit of Palpatine.
Yeah, they allowed him to move his essence.
He transferred his essence, and he was obsessed with immortality, so he had clones of himself.
Yeah.
And he transferred his essence. So it wasn't the Palpatine, right? It was this kind of broken spirit of his who was like burning through these clone bodies. Because
is that the Sith phantasm? I've heard things referred to as that as being like kind of the Sith version of like a Force ghost, but I don't know too much about it. You're like the EU expert. So.
Yeah, it's been referred to like that.
They can't make themselves Force ghosts, but transfer essence. I think that's what it's called.
Well, they can. Their spirits can definitely appear in the same manner that like Jedi Force ghosts appear. It just kind of manifested a little bit differently, but yeah.
I mean, when you look at Mammon was able to keep his essence inside of his helmet, and that anybody who put that helmet on would be possessed by him. So, I mean, that would be the only way that I could say, or that I could see that it would make sense that Palpatine somehow. But what is he going to transfer his essence to? Like a piece of freaking of exploded Death Star? I mean, it doesn't even make sense. How do you transfer his essence?
Have you guys seen the Red Letter Media? Where they talk about their theories for episode 9, and they brought up the idea of like time travel and their idea of Palpatine being on a piece of Death Star wreckage that lands on Endor and having like a cult of like dark Ewoks be like worshiping him. I thought it was like so ridiculous that I loved it. I was like, I'd actually be okay with that.
I mean,
these glowing red-eyed Ewoks that are just like, master.
Yeah, they were. That was pretty funny, and honestly, like before we got the official leaks, it, I mean, kind of made sense. Who would I make Snoke? So I would not do it this way, right? If I were doing it, I would continue it on from where the EU left after the book Crucible, because it makes complete sense based on the age of everyone and everything like that. But if I had this fucking travesty of episode 7 where we don't know anything about anything, right? It's just a whole house of cards that no one could have built anything on, and Ryan Johnson just came in there and like jumped on top of it. But
try to do the worst job he possibly
could. Flopped onto the card, bastard.
But I would have made Snoke Darth Plagueis.
That would have made most sense.
I think that was so many people's theories because it was reasonable, right? It's supposed to be this guy who's been around for forever, but he's messed up.
The music in Force Awakens too. It's like it's Darth Plagueis's theme from the opera when you see Snoke for the first time in Force Awakens. So you're just like it was right there, guys. You were doing it.
They may have been running with that and may have been planning to go with that.
I think their whole thing was like, oh, but that'd be too easy. It's like, no, easy's fine if it makes sense. It doesn't have to be a giant surprise to be good. It just has to make sense with the story.
And then bring in Thrawn. I mean, why not bring in Thrawn into this?
Thrawn has been brought into the new canon through Rebels, and actually, I think
don't call him Thrawn. That is not Thrawn. That is some bitch with blue skin who's getting jerked around.
I don't know. They
a ragtag group of idiots.
Yeah, Thrawn would have never. He would have never fucking had an issue taking care of those.
Ezra,
that would be half an episode. Grand Admiral Thrawn taking care of those fools.
Well, I mean, I did like that they pulled some of his scenes. I think were pulled like essentially like directly from Heir to the Empire, like his kind of command center that was like also his art gallery and like the. Did they have the little animals that block force powers in Rebels? I'm not kind of
Salamiri.
Yeah, the little backpacks.
Those are in Heir to the Empire for sure, but I'm trying to remember. I was like, did they? I feel like they did have those in Rebels, but now I didn't
watch every episode of Rebels, to be honest. So I couldn't tell you.
I didn't watch Rebels at all.
Thrawn's mostly in the last 2 seasons.
Season 3 and 4, I believe.
Yeah. And I remember thinking it was pretty good, as a person who really loves the Thrawn trilogy. But it's just I'm getting confused now because I've recently been just on my drives and stuff. I've been listening to the audiobook for Heir to the Empire, which it's so good. Like every time especially even hear the guy who does the reading for it, it's
Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson.
Yeah, Mark Thompson.
Dude, he's the best.
And it's Mark with a C. It's Mark with a C, I think, too.
It's the right way to spell Mark. But he does such a great Han Solo, and even his Luke is pretty convincing, you just
Lando.
Wow, he gets the way those characters are supposed to be speaking, and it kind of makes you think. It's like, man, why was it so hard for them to find a young Han Solo if they've got one guy that's nailing 5 characters?
Yeah, he's really. There's some videos online of him actually doing the while he's reading and getting into it and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But speaking of, if anyone out there is interested, myself and a couple other people are starting up essentially a Star Wars Expanded Universe book club. And we put a poll out on Twitter, and we are starting with Heir to the Empire. So we're starting with the Thrawn trilogy. I voted for that. There you go.
I'm telling you, the Thrawn... That would have been a slam dunk for Disney had they just went and got the Thrawn trilogy.
Heir to the Empire, mass market paperback. The first one I got too.
And then even the newer Thrawn, the new Thrawn trilogy, Thrawn Alliances, Thrawn.
I'm not ready into that, but Anna was.
Which
Anna
one
was
is
saying
garbage?
There was a 2-part Thrawn series. I think that was old EU though. Ryan, you might know about this.
You're talking about you're talking about the hand. No, you're talking about the new Disney ones.
No, I
no,
don't
not
think
what Uche's
so,
talking about. Uche's talking about the new Disney ones. Mark, you're talking about the Hand of Thrawn duology, which is
that was the one. Anna, that Star Wars girl, Anna was talking about how that she likes those more than the Thrawn trilogy, and I'd never even heard of them, and I was like, oh, maybe I should read that.
The first Thrawn trilogy is amazing. Yes, I'm talking about the newer ones as well. Those ones were pretty. That one's pretty good. Treason was a bit more. It was a bit more of like a strategic style story, like a strategic military story. But the Thrawn Alliances, where he actually partners up with Anakin Skywalker in the past and Darth Vader in the present. And then where the one before that, where it actually starts off with his exile from the Chiss Ascendancy, and then he goes on to make his way through the Empire's Academy, and gets his that's when he first gets his first rank as Grand Admiral.
Yeah, I don't think all of the Disney canon is terrible. In fact, I've read 1.5, I guess, 2.5. 2 books total, but 1 full book and 2 half books of the Disney canon. And I thought Lords of the Sith was actually quite good. It's like
one of the first ones that came out.
Yeah, it's a pretty self-contained, like Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine stranded on a planet fighting off a bunch of Twi'leks, I believe. Twi'leks? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's like a Twi'lek planet that they're on.
Ryloth?
Sorry?
Is it Ryloth?
Yeah, is it Ryloth that they're on? I don't know. Again, like this was like just after Force Awakens that I read this, so it was a little while ago. And I remember liking that one quite a bit, particularly because there's a really awesome scene that I do remember towards the beginning where Darth Vader like jettisons himself out of a Star Destroyer and then cuts his way into a Rebel ship with his lightsaber. And I was like, that's pretty badass.
But see, that's the kind of fighting prowess that I think George Lucas wanted Vader to have, but they just didn't know. They just didn't have the choreography.
Yeah, and also this is supposed to be like just a couple years after Revenge of the Sith, if any. Like I think it's almost supposed to be next to right after Revenge of the Sith, so it's still really young Darth Vader. Like it's basically Clone Wars Anakin age. Yeah, and I thought that was a really like good, like small scale, self-contained story that was really badass. I read half of the fucking Chuck Wendig one. What was it called? Aftermath. And I thought it was horrendous. I couldn't even get through it. I was just like, I don't even care about any of these characters or anything that's happening in this book.
I didn't think Aftermath was terrible.
Thought was okay, but I kind of fell off it at some point. I just started reading something else.
Tarkin was a little dry, but I mean, it still had its spots.
I didn't mind it. I enjoyed. Like I said, I read about half of it, and I did enjoy what I read. But I kind of remembered like eventually falling off it, and then just thinking like, oh, I should get back to reading Tarkin. And then I was just like, I don't know. I'm not gonna lose sleep over not reading the rest of it.
I mean, I read it. I listened to it on audiobook. Actually, all the EU stuff I listen to on audiobook is just it's better that way. I feel like,
because I mean, especially now, like I spend so much time playing games to get like all the material I need for the reviews I'm making. I have very little time to be sitting in front of a book and like reading old-fashioned way. I read at work when I don't have patience, but even then, that's like afternoons. And lately, I've been having a lot of like actual soldier stuff to do throughout the week as well. So it's been busy lately.
Megatron Prime asks, do you guys like the Old Republic games? I freaking
through KOTOR right now.
Dude, I will play through Knights of the Old Republic multiple times in a year. I don't care.
I'm on Kashyyyk right now, and Uche, I will send you the link for the plugin I use to get it running in 1080p. It looks great.
Oh, hell yeah.
The footage for my review is going to look great. And I've already given Ryan the homework assignment to have a Darth Revan video ready for Christmas so that we can release
who was it? There was a company that was actually doing an entire
Unreal Engine. Yeah, they were doing on the Unreal Engine.
Same with Republic Commando.
They got shut down by
Disney and EA shut those the fan remakes down when I don't know why, because they could make tons of money.
About 6 or 8 months ago, they shut them down.
They could honestly, it was the same with the Republic Commando. They were doing that in Unreal Engine 4, and the footage of it looked really good. Yeah. They honestly could have gone to that team and be like, hey, you guys are doing this for nothing. How about we sell it for $20 and we give you 10%, which, considering they're doing all the work, is a joke amount of money, but it's still more than the $0 they would be getting for it otherwise. But I honestly think that the reason they're not doing that is because EA doesn't want a fan remake of a LucasArts game to blow their like Battlefront 2 out of the water. And because I think it would. Like,
that's why, Megatron also asked, he was talking about the computer game too. And so what he's talking about is Star Wars, the Old Republic, the MMO. And that's been out since like... It's been out since like 2011, and I love it. I've been a subscriber.
I thought I could have sworn it was older than that. I feel like it's been around forever.
I think it came out right after. It came out right after he sold to Disney, if I remember correctly.
Oh, no, it was way before that.
It was before?
That's what I mean. Like, because 2012 was when they sold to Disney, and I could have sworn Old Republic was around for years before that. Because I remember it being disappointed that it wasn't just going to be KOTOR 3. Because they were like, oh, this is going to be like KOTOR 3, 4, 5, and 6 all in one game. And I was like, yeah, but at the time, it's funny for me to say now. It's like, oh, but I don't want to play on PC. And I was like, now I'm just like the most gigantic PC gamer. I hate when I have to play something on a console.
Oh, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love consoles, but, you know, I spent like $5,000 on my PC. So I'm like, yo, I'm playing all my games on PC now. I got an RTX 1080 Ti. Shoot.
It's just, I mean, for me especially, because like, I mean, not, and just so you know, if there's anyone in chat who plays on consoles, I'm firmly in the camp of you should play video games wherever you enjoy playing video games. I'm never going to be like, oh, like console people don't even bother watching my videos. Like, no, actually, like the bounty hunter video that I'm doing, I have to play it on a console because the only modern system you can play it on right now is PS4. I have a PS4 Pro, I even have an Xbox One X that I use rarely, but I do own them and a Switch. So like I'm completely platform agnostic as far as what I can play on. It's just, if I have the option to get something on PC, I'll get it on PC, mostly because I can capture the footage much more easily. Like if I just hit Alt F10, it will save my last 20 minutes in full whatever resolution I was playing in. So if I'm playing in 4K, it's full 4K, 60 frames a second video. Whereas PlayStation 4 automatically downscales everything to 30 frames a second.
Yeah.
So for me to capture good PS4 footage, which I had to do for the like 3-second clip of God of War 3 that I have in my Force Unleashed video, I had to run it through a capture card and then play it in this room in my office, which is not where my PS4 is, just on like a tiny monitor, playing it a second behind because it's delayed through the computer, and it's a mess. Do you think PC?
Sure, I'm gonna play a little bit of that modded Knights of the Old Republic real quick.
Flawlesswidescreen.org is where you want to go to download that plugin. But to DM, do I think PC will eventually just phase consoles out? No, I hope that eventually what will happen is that the platform will be totally agnostic in a sense, so that it doesn't matter what machine you're running the software on. You can buy a game and then play it on your PC, but still be able to buy like a $400 set-top console. But just every game that you own on PC, you can also play on that thing. And when you switch to a different machine, any game that is able to run on that machine that you own will be able to play over there. And I think that is probably the future eventually. And as much as I think it's a terrible idea, I think what's going to push the industry towards that is stuff like Google Stadia streaming. I don't like the idea of streaming video games like the way you would stream like movies because of the input lag. But that technology existing and the market being pushed that way, I think will force the local gaming industry to be more open about you being able to just play your games wherever you want to play them, be it on like a Nintendo Switch or then picking up your game and playing it on a PC, which actually a game that's similar in some ways to Knights of the Old Republic, a Divinity Original Sin 2, just came out on Switch and is the first game that I'm aware of that has cross-save between Switch and Steam. So you can play the game on PC and then pick up your save file on Switch and play it on the go. And that happening, it makes me so happy. I was like, yes, do more stuff like that. Because I think that is what will keep like consoles alive. That if you can have it so that you can buy a like $5,000 PC like Uche's, or you can buy a $400 console that plays like a PS4, or a $400 less powerful console that is portable like a Switch. Those are all different types of value, right? And I think that all those machines being options would be a very good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mr. Matty plays too.
Yeah, I mean, and if looking at this this kind of preview of what they were doing with the lower terrace part of Knights of the Old Republic, I mean, dude, can you imagine playing this game
Oh yeah, it would have been sick.
Reimagined. I mean, I know that these are a bunch of suits. EA and Disney. They send suits to come after these kind of people and put the squeeze on them in terms of them being able to make something without being interfered with. But if you're a chairman on EA's board or on Disney's board and you're seeing this, I mean,
why not be like, yeah, they've done 90% of the work.
They're doing all the work. I mean, so give them 20%. We keep everything else. I mean,
exactly. I think even 10. Like, I honestly think like they're just like, hey, we'll sell 1 million copies of this and give you 10%. Like most developers that are modders will be like, $100 grand?
Yeah, $100 grand for them to do this. I mean, they're doing it for free right now.
There's 3 of us doing this in our spare time while we work at GameStop.
Yeah, doing it in their spare time, and they're doing a better job than cats who spend 16-hour days doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think it has a lot to do with what you were talking about, Marcus. They don't want to be shown up because with the mess that Battlefront 2 was. Like if this came out, think of like the hype we got just for a re-release, not remastered or anything else of Jedi Outcast. Like, just think how excited some people were for that. They don't want to be shown up. That's the whole thing.
But you're not getting shown up when you're the one. Who cares if you get shown up if you're making the money? I don't care.
I mean, it's funny. Just in my autoplay on YouTube when I was just like playing some Sekiro yesterday, capturing footage for my video. A YouTuber who actually I have a couple clips of in my Jedi Outcast video, G-Man, had a video about this Quake conversion that was like a Quake X-Men mod, essentially, that Marvel in like 1997 or 98 found this one dude that was making this like version of Quake that had like you fighting against the X-Men in the Quake engine and paid him and made it official. And it made it, like G-Man was saying, that it actually made it sort of a worse game than it might have been because they were like, okay, we're going to pay you to put this out as an official Marvel Comics X-Men release, but it has to be done in time for Christmas. So it was kind of rushed, and there were a lot of like
on a timetable.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, okay, like that's better than me getting shut down, but I don't know why they don't
$5 million to work on this game, and we'll give you 12 months to finish it.
Yeah, like something like that. Because be like, okay, so instead of paying $100 million to make a Battlefront game that most people dislike, and then having to recoup that cost by doing microtransactions that people get mad at, or sell a $60 season pass, which I'll admit the one good thing that I liked about that first Battlefront game season pass is it came with the Rogue One VR mission, and that's still one of the best things on my PSVR. It's pretty cool. It's one kind of flight mission where it's like VR, you're flying in an X-Wing, but that's it. But what I mean is that costs $60 for the 10-minute level that I enjoy. And I think instead of having to do that, if they found these like passionate people who just make mods of old games or even make mods for new games that turn things into Star Wars and be like, oh, hey, this, I don't know, mod for like, pick a game, like Metro Exodus is like it turns you into a Republic Commando type trooper and you're on this like abandoned alien planet instead of renegade like pirates in the Metro universe, you're fighting against Tusken Raiders. Then they could just do stuff like that and be like, okay, let's just give these people a couple like 20 grand, 30 grand, pay them for it, and then release it, sell it for $20, and every single Star Wars fan who owns Metro is buying that. Like, really, if it's good.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, they could, if they really want, because a lot of the major developers, and when I say that, I really mean EA. Yeah. And EA and Activision.
Ooh, that's
oh, damn, look at that booty.
I mean, you look at the work that...
Please be played by Kate Beckinsale at some point.
They're trying to cut corners on development. They cut corners on development, and they give us half-assed, final products that have to be patched on day one. Well, they could give a half-assed level of work if they paid another actually fan that was willing, with a group of people who are willing to put in hard work. Like, you look at how this remastered model of Bastila is, and it's like, why not just let them do it? You don't have to do nothing. You're not using any real resources. You're not having to develop any more end graphics engines. Like, EA has made it a mandate that every single game made from an EA brand has to use the Frostbite engine. And that's why a lot of their games fucking break.
Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons why actually Fallen Order looks pretty good, because Respawn's got the kind of clout that they're just like, yeah, no, we're not using Frostbite.
We're not going to use Frostbite. Yeah, they didn't do it with what's it called? With
Apex
with Titanfall
or Titanfall. Yeah. Titanfall was Source Engine, so was Apex, and
those engines are way better than Frostbite. Frostbite is
and I think it's because
on Madden.
I don't know if you guys know too much about like gaming industry, like behind the scenes stuff, but do you know who Vince Zampella is? Like, does that name ring a bell? So I'll tell you if you don't. But so he's the guy who worked on Medal of Honor Allied Assault, then made this little game called Call of Duty. Worked on it up until Modern Warfare 2, and then eventually left Infinity Ward and started the company Respawn. He's sort of famously kind of a dick, and I think that sort of has worked in EA's favor in a way, because he's the one that will say to EA, yeah, no, we're not making it on Frostbite. You can't make me. I'm not going to do it. I'm making this on Unreal, or my team wants to make it on Unreal, and that's what they're going to do, and you're going to let them. And EA is just kind of like, all right, Vince.
Yeah, he's the reason why their stock prices are so high.
What does Bethesda use on like everything?
The Creation Engine, or Gamebryo, as it was once called. But that's actually, it's just Bethesda Game Studios that does that. So, because you got to remember, Bethesda, the company, like the publisher, has two engines. One of them is extremely bad at doing pretty much anything except for making gigantic open worlds with a lot of depth. And that's the Creation Engine, or the one that Bethesda Game Studios uses. So Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Fallout 76.
So Fallout 3, Fallout 4.
Yeah, Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, basically. Yeah. The other engine that Bethesda also owns is id Tech 6. That is the engine that makes Doom and Wolfenstein and all these just fantastic looking shooters that just run like a dream. And it always just blows my mind that Bethesda Game Studios doesn't just go to id and be like, hey, can you help us find a way to make like Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 or Starfield, which is the next one they're making, or Elder Scrolls 6 on id Tech? And we'll find a way to adapt the aspects of the Creation Engine, like, I don't know, being able to drop a set of copper wire in a locker in one random building in one random dungeon, and have it be there if you come back to it 400 hours later. Like, that's kind of the Creation Engine's benefit, that it just has this gigantic memory, which is the reason why the PS3 versions of both Fallout 3 and Skyrim kind of ran like garbage, because PS3 didn't really play very nice with that like constantly increasing game file size or like RAM allotment, because it had to remember where every single thing the player did was. And I don't know. But yeah, no, I can dork out about like game engines and stuff like that forever. It's sort of, like I said, it's one of the reasons why I write scripts, so that my thoughts just get focused.
No, dude, I mean, you're breaking it down, and those are some things that I didn't know, as far as the deep development side of the industry. I do know. I watched videos and I read a couple of articles that talked specifically about EA and how EA was. A lot of the problems with the games that they were dropping was that, the kind of games that they were trying to make were not compatible with the engine that they were forcing everyone in their development umbrella to use. With what's it called? What was the one train wreck they just released?
Anthem.
Oh my God!
Didn't even have to think.
Dude, I got Anthem on day one. I got it on day one.
I played the beta, and I was just like, "Oh no, I can't."
And I didn't get to play the beta. That was I didn't get to play the beta.
The beta was the game release. It was terrible.
That's kind of why I was like, no. And it kind of sucks, because I used to play a lot of Destiny, and this is going into a bit of personal stuff, but a couple years ago I was engaged to a girl that I used to play Destiny with a lot, and eventually we broke up. So I've kind of got, like, for lack of a better way to put it, like, like
got
Destiny.
Destiny
I just
PTSD.
can't play Destiny anymore. It's just like, oh no,
Yeah,
it reminds
nah,
me
I
of
hear
things
you.
I'd rather forget.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I miss my Destiny clan. Like I miss a lot of the guys from like the UK that I used to play with all the time. So my friend Jamie, who lives in like England, was really pumped about Anthem, and I wanted to get it just so I'd be able to play a game with Jamie again. And then I played the beta, and I was just like, oh my god! I called him. I'm like, Jamie, I can't. I hate this game. I'm sorry. I think it sucks. And even he played it for like 2 weeks before he was done with it. So.
I played it for about a month and a half, and then the Division 2 came out, and I was like, all right.
Division 2, I don't mind actually. Yeah.
Division 2 was dope. I liked it. You know, it's just.
I got to level 30, although I don't think I finished the campaign. I might have a couple main missions to still play.
I got pretty far. I think I got to level. Shit, I got pretty far. I got really.
You played
far.
on PC?
No, I played it on my fucking PS4. That's the thing. Like now, I don't want to say.
I was like, let's stream Division 2 on Geeks and Gamers.
I mean, I have Division 1 on my PC.
I think actually I do too. I got it from a Humble Bundle or something, but I've actually never played it on PC, so my character would be nothing. Am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
My little icon looks frozen on my screen here.
Oh, it does look frozen on mine as well.
It is.
You're like this.
Yeah, I've had
your audio is good.
Is your hand still on your eyes?
No.
Oh shit, you are froze. It doesn't look like you're froze.
Yeah, the audio is perfect.
Can you still hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, that's weird because now I'm totally gone. At least I'm a black screen on there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I think it might be? I think my camera might have died.
Oh, you just ran out of batteries.
I realized I heard a USB cable.
Megatron asks if I had to remake the whole trilogy, would you? He spelled whole without a W. So
The whole.
that is a good way to put it. It may have been a mistake, but that's a good way to put it. Listen, I would have done it completely different. I think it would be really hard to expect a company like Disney to swallow their pride and say, you know what, all of this was a big mistake. Just forget about it. Let's start over again. That's not realistic, unfortunately. I would love to see the stories that I love from the Star Wars Expanded Universe be continued in the future under the Legends banner as an alternate timeline. If that starts with new, more books that we already know they have a bunch in development. So getting those books out there, if the popularity is there, potentially having like an animated series someday.
I'm going to do a close-up with focus.
All right. But yeah, like, I don't know. There's some people that still want the EU to come to the movies. I just don't think it's realistic, unfortunately, with what's already happened. But I think the opportunity is coming gone.
Animation.
That's what I was just saying.
Poor DC. Just to be like, look, if the movie universe isn't working, have animated movies of the parts of the universe that do work.
Shit about DC?
No. I'm saying that there's okay, I hated Justice League. I'll say that much.
Justice League was awful. You should have hated it.
I really hated Justice League. I thought it was horrendous. I like Batman versus Superman, which I think is a controversial opinion amongst a lot of people.
No, I love it.
Okay, so maybe not here.
Not here.
That's liking Batman versus Superman is something I get dumped on for frequently, but I really did not like Justice League at all.
What? Batman v Superman was a great movie.
Yeah, I know.
I understand what the movie's trying to convey. The message, or rather the narrative that the movie's trying to convey. It's gods among men, power against the powerless, and God being Superman among men, and the power against the powerless being Batman. Superman is the powerful, Batman is the powerless, and Batman and Lex Luthor try to overcome that powerlessness by defeating Superman.
And again, like Batman versus Superman is not one you have to defend to me, because I liked it. I actually think the extended cut is quite good. In fact, to the point that I think it's unfairly dumped on by a lot of people. It's Justice League my buddy Fonz has.
I don't even count
the trailer hurt Batman versus Superman a lot because I think
I agree. Actually,
even showing Wonder Woman, I think is something they should not have done. But showing Doomsday was like, oh god,
showing Doomsday that ruined it. That would have been
100%.
great. It would have been received completely different if nobody knew Doomsday was in it.
Yeah.
Well, it's all Warner Brothers. They mess with the trailers, they mess with the cuts of the movies because they want it to be under a certain amount of time, and then you get this extended release, the BVS, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is a completely different movie," because it adds so much more depth to it that Warner Brothers didn't want in there because they're idiots. But Justice League is a god awful train wreck of a movie. Yeah, it's got about 25% of Zack Snyder's original cuts in there. The rest is just crap. It's just all reshot crap.
Into a Joss Whedon movie. And
right.
I don't even hate Joss Whedon. In fact, like Fonz V in the chat there, he can vouch for the fact that when we were in high school, we watched an ungodly amount of Buffy and Angel at each other's houses. And like, I'm a huge fan of like early days Joss Whedon, and like up to Avengers 1 and to an extent Age of Ultron, although I think Age of Ultron has some issues. But legit didn't. Yeah, no, Fonz is right about that one. But I think that trying to take the skeleton and muscle structure, that's almost a pun, of a Zack Snyder movie, and then put Joss Whedon's skin on top of it, you have just a horrendous monster.
But his skin doesn't stretch that far.
Put it back in the oven.
that was the thing about Man of Steel and BVS. It was different. It was a different feel. It was a more realistic and grounded take, right? Yeah. And then Joss Whedon is not that. Joss Whedon has done some things that we all really liked, with Avengers, and but it's a different feel. And to try to change it up like that, make it under 2 hours, completely wreck Zack Snyder's vision. The people that like Joss Whedon and Marvel didn't like it because it wasn't quite what they wanted, and the people that like Zack Snyder freaking hated it. So you saw it in the box office. It's just stupid.
Well, I think I brought it up on your stream yesterday, Ryan, that I think the thing that makes even Justice League not really working ultimately be kind of okay is that DC, and even to an extent Marvel, the MCU now maybe not as much, but like things like Spider-Man, because there's been so many versions of these characters and so many visions of these movies and universes, like even from comic books to movies to animated films, as I was kind of bringing up how they could do the Star Wars extended universe, that it's okay if one of them doesn't work, because it's like, okay, well, if Zack Snyder's Batman didn't work for you, maybe Matt Reeves will. And after Matt Reeves is done with his, what's his name? Dude from Twilight, the new
Robert
Batman.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson. Even if his Batman is like really doesn't work for somebody, it's probably not going to be more than 10 years before there's another Batman. And then that Batman might be the one that you really connect with. So
I wouldn't have had a problem with Ben Affleck being Batman for 10 years. I wouldn't have had a problem with that.
Honestly, I don't even really have a problem with Robert Pattinson being
Batman. Neither do I.
I've seen him in some things that are good. But I'm saying that if someone is just like, oh God, Robert Pattinson, I hate that guy. And I even if you see his Batman movie and you hate it, ultimately it's like, okay, well, this one you don't like, but there will be another Batman. The problem with Star Wars is that there's kind of only one Star Wars universe.
You only get one.
Now it's sort of splintered off to Legends and Disney core canon, like the movies it's just the one universe. Like Last Jedi and Force Awakens were not a reboot and a new vision of the Star Wars universe. They were supposed to be sequels to the Star Wars movies we had.
Yeah.
I almost in retrospect would have preferred it if they're just like Disney Star Wars first movie, we're redoing A New Hope. I would have hated that at the time, but now it's like, okay, well, if it eventually went to Last Jedi, at least.
Yeah, you don't get to do interpretations of Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going to say I would have been totally against a reboot or a reimagining of A New Hope. But at the same time, that's not why George Lucas sold them the property. He didn't sell them the property to remake. He told them that he's selling them the property under the stipulation, at least a non-contractual stipulation. But it was a non-contractual stipulation that they would continue to move it forward in a new way. I mean, even if it was bad, moving it forward in a new way where we can tell that they're attempting to bring something fresh to it, that'll garner more respect from the audience than just, copy and pasting all of the major points from A New Hope, and then not even having the decency to follow up on the continuity of it with The Last Jedi. Like The Last Jedi, I mean, what I think kills a lot of people about The Last Jedi is that it has no connection to anything.
Yeah, it's not even consistent with itself when you start breaking it down. Like there's aspects of the beginning of The Last Jedi that don't really work with the end of The Last Jedi.
And it's just like, what are they doing? Why do they think that? Why did Kathleen Kennedy tell this cat, you can just do whatever you want? Like, dude,
honestly, I think she must have really liked Looper and Breaking Bad. Because, I mean, to be honest, that's why I was excited. There was a time where I was really pumped about the fact that Rian Johnson was going to be making a Star Wars film.
I think a lot.
Hey, hold on. Stop. We're not live anymore.
Oh.
You got copyright claim for playing this, Uche. I guarantee it. Yeah.
Oh, with no audio?
Yeah, go check it. Stream unavailable. Stream suspended for policy violations.
Oh, get the hell out.
These sons of
this is a trailer, isn't it? Oh, no, it's a fight.
It's a scene from the movie, but I mean, it's on YouTube.
And it's mute. It's on mute. Just not listening to any audio.
It's the visuals, yeah.
The movie didn't have the three of us in the corner here being dicks.
These sons of bitches.
So usually when this dude, I hope this doesn't fuck your shit up. Usually when this happens, they give you like a warning. But it should be fine. Should just be a warning.
Let me check my email real quick.
Yeah.
Damn it, Warner Brothers. We were speaking well of your movie.
Yeah, now we're going to talk fucking shit all day.
Oh, yeah. What do you think of Justice League now, Uche?
Fuck Justice League. Fuck BBS. Fuck Warner Brothers. No, I didn't get an email about anything. Let me see.
Speaking of animated, though, you see that Batman versus Superman fight scene that's 3 down there in the middle? That's from the Dark Knight Returns movie, and that choice.
Yeah,
choice Batman and Superman fight right there.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it now. Shit. All right, hold on. Let me see.
We back.
We back?
We back.
Man, you see how these motherfuckers be doing us? All we over here doing is trying to give the people a good show. And look, we can't even talk good about Warner Brothers without them stepping in. Oh, we need some of that bread. We need some of that bread. We need some of that. We need some of that.
Yeah.
You're not even monetized yet, though. We're doing this stream to help
I'm not even monetized. I say, we're going to get your money before you get your money. All right.
Yeah, so that's crazy. I can't believe that they got that from a part of the screen with the volume not on. But it's good. So when they do things like that, it's basically like you're warning to stop doing what you're doing. So it looks like they're good. I'm not sure how it works. I'm a good boy. I don't do things like that. So I don't have to worry about that stuff. That's why I monetize, Uche.
Fuck off. All right. So now what do we do? I'm scared to even pull up anything else to look at.
We can just talk. I will say I was getting like mesmerized by that fight scene.
Because it was so fucking awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, let's go. All right, we'll hold off on that for now.
Right. Yeah. That was crazy. I've never been a part of a stream where that happened.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're back. Glad you didn't get your streaming. Imagine if you had been so close to getting monetized, then you get your streaming privileges taken away for 90 days. Yeah.
Back to zero, you bastard.
But thanks for everybody in chat letting us know. Letting us know it went down.
Damn.
There you go.
Eddie D said they have AI that constantly scans the videos every other second for copyright. Man, these you know what?
You were just playing it for too long.
Ivan Ortega was telling me it's like 7.5 seconds is kind of the magic number. That if you keep anything under 7.
I heard it's 1 second. I heard it's not even 7. They said 1 second, and they can take it. They can copyright it.
That's strange because I didn't get tagged in 2 of my videos now in a row, and on Geeks and Gamers too. I have Roundabout by Yes play like for my like JoJo to be continued memes. Like it's where it kind of freeze frames and says to be continued, with like the kind of sick bass line playing. And that's like a like classic rock song from the 70s, like by a band that I'm sure is still making money off their music. And at least, I mean, if they did get demonetized, Jeremy hasn't given me shit for it. So he'd be the one making the money off it. So.
All right.
I think he'd be really pissed about
I'm going to put a challenge out there to our community, to our audience. If we can get, let's see what y'all got. If we can get 100 people in here, then I will show the teaser for my next Geeks and Gamers Fandom Menace Origins video essay. But we need 100. Once we get
100 people,
I'll see if I can
100 people. Once we get to 100 people, I will pull it out. The video's already made. I've already had it rendered out. It's ready to go. It's a minute 40, about a minute and 40 seconds a teaser into my next video essay, which is going to be fucking epic. I was getting so hyped about it before the stream when I was making it. I was still working on it. I was just like, oh, this is going to be so awesome. This is going to be so awesome.
Well, I already tweeted it out. I hope that we can get, hope you can get 100 people in here, hit them triple digits.
Oh yeah, I didn't tweet this actually.
But
I'm forgetting that
I actually have to get going soon. I have an interview I'm doing with, I'm talking a little Expand Universe with somebody tonight. With Matt Wilkins, should be going up in his channel some point this week. So I have to bounce now and kind of get ready for that. But Uche, man, thanks for having me on your channel.
Hey, no problem, brother. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, we need to talk Zack Snyder.
Everybody.
Yeah, we need to do a Zack Snyder video at some point. Just if for nothing else other than to piss Jeremy off.
Yeah,
we'll do a Hail Zack Snyder video.
Hail Snyder, King of the EUs,
our savior. But
do like a 300 CrossFit set together.
There you go. But hey, thanks for having me, man. Mark, good talking to you again. Thanks for coming on my stream last night, man.
Yeah, man, no worries. Thanks for having me,
brother.
Yep, chat. You're amazing. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Megatron. I don't think anyone likes Suicide Squad. Oh, wait, Mary has a pro tip.
I tried.
Mary's pro tip is always make a backup account to stream from.
Yeah, I saw that. Appreciate that pro tip, Mary Mayhem. But yeah, dude, that was wild. They just snatched us offline.
I can't believe they did that with like a picture-in-picture video
with no audio, and we were talking over the top of it.
Like, are we cutting out again? I think maybe Ryan was our anchor. Mary, get on here. We need someone else's internet.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars Life, Jeremy's Instagram fan page. What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, Ruthie.
Star Wars for Life.
Oh, I'm frozen.
Send the word out. 100. We get 100 people in here, then I'm going to show the teaser for my next video essay on Geeks and Gamers. I think y'all.
Uche, can you hear me? Mary says I'm frozen.
I can hear you. I can see you. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
I think there's just there's like a 10-second delay or something with live stream.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I got to tweet this too.
Yeah, I'm trying to tweet this out.
We should probably talk about something. Oh, Uche, you going to see Joker this weekend?
Oh, you damn right. I already got my tickets. I'm going on Thursday.
Oh no, yeah. So you'll see it before me. Fonz and I are going on Friday at 7 Eastern. So I'll probably be back home here in Ottawa. I know it's about an hour and a half away, so I'll probably be home around like midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, maybe we can have some kind of Joker post-game stream on like Saturday or Sunday. See if we can get
you already know it
here and get the view numbers up.
You already know it.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. We're not trying to ignore you. We're just trying to tweet out so that we can get more people in here.
Quick tweets. Yeah.
Bad at multitasking. Watch me and.
So definitely, I really do want to show this teaser too. I really do want to show this teaser because I mean, I've been putting some work into this, and I just tweeted out, so everybody check that out. I tweeted out, if we get 100 in here, I will release the hounds. I will release.
I just realized Ruthie being in here means like we're definitely getting some tweets about this. Ruthie's like a fierce tweeter.
Yeah, I know it. I know it.
She's the best promotional person I've ever had in my life for anything I've ever done. I constantly, almost any time of day, I can look at my phone and see like notifications from Twitter, and it's like something from Ruthie being like, "You've been texting this to her." I'm like, "Oh, Ruthie, you're a dear."
Telling you, all we need is 80 people. 80 more people. Let's make that happen. Who says y'all trash? Thank you. My Twitter is at CHUKWU.
I think my buddy Cole might be in here because he just messaged something like, "Oh shit, you're on live right now. Cool."
Let me put my Twitter in here. There we go. That's mine.
Oh yeah, and here I guess I should throw mine in the chat as well. My chat.
But
yeah, my Twitter is like one of the only things that I'm not Mark the Cyborg on because someone else has that for some reason, and they won't seem to reply to me to see if I can get it off.
They're like, no,
they want to reply. Like, and I honestly don't think it's like an active account at all.
Yeah, he might not even be on anymore. All right, so I'm pulling out my sheet of paper. We're gonna remake. We're gonna start from episode fucking 8.
Oh, we're going back to our Last Jedi rewrite.
Yeah, you damn fucking right. We're gonna go back to that rewrite. We're gonna rewrite the last Jedi. We're gonna remake it. We're gonna completely. You know what? We're not even gonna do just a remake. We're gonna cancel the whole damn new trilogy. And we're just going to start off fresh.
Oh, so we're okay. Because that's a totally different question just starting from episode 8. But hi, Samurai Vader.
Samurai Vader. All right. So let me put down here Star Wars episode 7. The right way. Uh-oh. Running out of ink. Oh, come on, pen. Oh, there we go. No.
Oh, Canadian House Code. Actually, Cole is in here. It's my buddy from work.
Nice. God damn, my pen just ran out of freaking ink.
Everyone's giving me the oh hi Mark. I swear I did not hit her. I swear I did not.
Oh hi. Is there a reason for that?
Oh, hi, Mark, from The Room. You ever seen The Room with Tommy Wiseau? Oh, dude. It's one of the worst movies ever made, but it's amazing.
Oh, it's one of those?
It's so unbelievably bad that it's one of the most hilarious things you will ever see in your life.
God damn it.
There was actually a movie about the making of it with James Franco and Dave Franco.
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, that's one of the most famous lines from the actual like movie that they're making. But The Disaster Artist is the movie that's about the making of The Room, with James Franco playing Tommy Wiseau. And yeah, I mean, if you don't want to ever watch the actual movie The Room, Disaster Artist is pretty good too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I've never seen it. Maybe one day I'll check it out. Unlikely, but we'll see. All right. So let's not just say, let's not say we're just going to redo the whole thing. Let's kind of piece together where we would have taken Star Wars instead of going the route of not to say that we wouldn't have had a character similar to Rey, not to say we wouldn't have had a character similar to Kylo Ren or Snoke, but where do you take where do you start it and where do you take it? And let's not necessarily just use the EU as our crutch. I
know. So I'm going to ask a couple parameter questions. One, do we have to use Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia and Chewbacca? Like, do we have to use the OT cast at all?
Okay, so I will.
Are there any criteria?
You don't have to have the RT cast or the OT cast as they don't have to necessarily be the characters at the forefront, but they must be involved in one way or another as reference, or as cameo characters.
The reason that's important is because that means that gives us our timeline, because those actors are a certain age. Like, I mean, Carrie Fisher, rest in peace. But like, let's assume that this was being made in 2015 or whenever Force Awakens was. So it's one way or the other, because we can't. I mean, I guess you could digitally de-age those actors or make them older if you want, but it gives us at least a rough timeline of where it needs to be set funds. Presumably the Patton Oswalt take on Star Wars from Parks and Rec. Hey, did you ever see that?
Nuh-uh.
So Parks and Rec, Patton Oswalt was guest starring on an episode, and you know how like Parks and Rec and The Office, they have like improv scenes where the actors will just kind of amp, and then like they usually cut those scenes and they like sometimes release them as deleted scenes. He basically had a rant that was off the top of his head talking about how he would combine the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Star Wars because of like Thanos's Infinity Gauntlet. And it sounds silly when you put it in simple terms like that, but honestly, like he thought it out pretty well. It makes a fair amount of sense, terrible. And it might have actually worked to an extent. But Fonz here, like, I think the point of our exercise is we're going to try to not immediately copy someone else's ideas. Otherwise, I mean, my obvious thing is I'd just be like, okay, so if we can do anything, let's just do the Thrawn trilogy. Like, because I always say that's my episode 7, 8, and 9, and I will always kind of be, even though it messes with the prequels a little bit, because the nature of the clones are different in the Thrawn trilogy.
The clones are pretty much wiped out in the Thrawn trilogy, right? The clones.
Well, I mean, it's just the nature of them are different, and I think that it's implied that the Republic was fighting against the clones in the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, obviously, the prequels kind of overrule that and make it so that the Republic was the one with the clones, and there's never really any mention of them being like
place post Clone Wars, anyways.
Yeah, but it's like the way they reference the Clone Wars. They reference the Clone Wars just because I've been recently listening to the audio about Clone Wars as a war that the Republic was fighting against clones. And they do these things where they add like extra U sounds into the clone names. So there's like Jeruus Sabaoth is like the kind of dark Jedi master.
Yeah, but he was a clone.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of why like there were clones of just different people, as opposed to just all the clones being clones of one guy and then being like the stormtroopers. I think the idea was that things like Jedis could be cloned. That was actually a big thing in The Force Unleashed 2, that there was controversy over whether or not it was possible to actually make a Force-sensitive clone. And that's in like the George Lucas post-prequel world. Whereas Jeruus Sabaoth is very clearly a Force-sensitive clone. So, like, I don't know. There's things about it that make it not neatly fit in with episodes 1 to 6, but it fits very well with episode 4 to what I consider 9, and that being the Thrawn trilogy being my episode 7, 8, and 9. But what I mean is, like, we're not going to do that. We're not going to just flat out say, okay, we're using this idea, or like Fawn said, we're not going to just use Patton Oswalt's idea of combining it with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to start from scratch, and the only real guideline we have is that it needs to be roughly 30 years after Return of the Jedi.
Well, I wouldn't even do that. It doesn't have to be, because.
So then, are we taking out Luke, Han, and Leia?
No. I feel like you can. Let's use the de-aging element. Let's use that as far as technology goes. But I would put it 10 to 15 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay, yeah, that's
fair. You have an in his prime Luke Skywalker. You have a still in their prime Leia and Han. And you can operate. You can operate with a new story arc that will take place over the next 5 to 10 years. That's where I would put the new trilogy, a 5 to 10 year trilogy, where you start with. And I would just, let me put my notes up here real quick, because I'm gonna write some of this down just because.
Okay, then while you're writing it down, I've got my next parameter question that you can answer if you like, and we can work within that parameter. Is there a thriving Jedi Academy, yes or no, at the beginning of our episode 7?
Yes.
Okay,
I would say that
say Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy.
Luke Skywalker, and do we bring in a character like Mara Jade as a member of the council with Luke? Or do we add new?
Like give Luke a wife?
Yeah.
I would say so, yeah. I think that it would only make sense that, like, because it was clear, at least from the original trilogy, that, like, Luke did have, like, desires. Like, I mean, he was into Leia, obviously, before he found out that she was his sister. So I think it would be silly to think that, like, the hero of the galaxy wouldn't find someone that he could connect with if, like, I mean, clearly he would probably be the most sought after man in the entire Star Wars universe, really, at that point. Yeah. He was the hero of the rebellion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's something that's played on pretty strongly in the EU, is that Luke is still considered, like, he's considered a legendary figure around the entire galaxy. Everyone.
And I think that it would only make sense to have it be Mara, because we will want to give him a Force sensitive, at least, if not full on Jedi wife. So Mara Jade, I think, works perfectly for that.
Yep.
Are we having a character like Kyle Katarn in here at all, or even as any kind of significant role, or just have him be like a member of the council and like a little wink and a nod? Because he and Mara have kind of an interesting relationship as well.
You're talking about
at least in the EU.
Smuggler?
Well, Kyle Katarn is the stormtrooper who told EU stole the Death Star plans and then eventually becomes a Jedi. And he and Mara in the second Dark Forces game expansion pack, Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 Mysteries of the Sith, he and Mara have sort of a co-master Padawan relationship with each other, in that they're both talented in different aspects of the Force, but they teach each other what they know. So it's not really like one's the master and one's the Padawan. It's like they are both each other's masters and both each other's Padawans. So
they're teammates. They're just they're just partners. Sure. Let's go ahead and that'll be your Jedi Council.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have Luke, you'd have Mara, you'd have Kyle Katarn.
Yeah. And right off the bat, I think that, like, an easy place to take that, if you want to link it into that, they didn't, I think, do at any point in the EU, but if you want to, I think that it's often good when you're writing stories, as much as you don't want to rip things off, rooting them in some of the great stories ever told, or like the classic stories. You can have that be sort of a King Arthur, Guinevere, Lancelot situation, where maybe there is something between Kyle and Mara, and maybe Luke is not super okay with it, and that could be a point of conflict. It might end up being resolved eventually and have it be that they all need to team up and find out. Although, at the same time, that might be a little too similar to Han, Luke, and Leia in the OT.
Yeah, I think that, Christy. No, Christy, I'm not monetized. Sorry.
That's what we're doing here, Christy.
That's what this is about. We're trying to get to 100. If we get 100 people in here, I'm going to show the teaser to my next video essay, Fandom Menace Origins for Geeks and Gamers. We get 100 people in here, so spread the word. But I would say, because right here I have Jedi Council, Luke, Mara, Kyle. I would actually, this is a Jedi Council and a Jedi Order that has more modernized principles by which they follow. So for them to be able to find a partner in life is fine. For them to have children is fine. Mm-hmm. And, it's not considered, it's something that is, heresy or blasphemy for them to be in the same council with somebody that there is a spouse or a partner. Mm-hmm. So I think that gives you a little bit more. I think that
structure
gives you more, it gives you the structure, but it unwinds them a little bit.
Yeah.
When you look at the old Republic, and in the old Republic, those Jedi were so tightly wound. Mm-hmm. that you had a lot of dissension among them within the ranks. I mean,
yeah, and it made Anakin feel like he couldn't come clean with the council about his feelings.
Exactly, and that just led to ruin.
Yeah, well, clearly.
So, my council relaxed rules.
Yeah, that happened. Vader saber, but. All right, so I guess probably the next step would be for us to figure out who would be our main characters if we're having Luke, Mara, Leia, and Han, if they're in it, however much they are in it, people like Lando. If we're going to have most of the OT cast play as supporting characters and as agents to build the world around what our main plot would be, what are we doing as far as our characters that the audience can connect with, our main characters? Are they going to be I guess probably the biggest question that everyone had with Rey, is it going to be anyone's children, anyone that we know, a brand new character that has no connection to anyone, or someone who has some connection to somebody, but not a familial?
As I think about it, I would have, so I think another question we got to ask, do Han and Leia, have they had their first kids yet? How old are those kids?
15 years later, I would say probably yes, because they were mid-30s by the end of Return of the Jedi. So
Return of the Jedi, I mean, I'd put them in their mid-20s, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Because you want to think Luke was at least in, 18, 19 in New Hope.
Yeah, but I mean, Return of the Jedi is isn't it 7 years after A New Hope or so? So yeah, I guess they'd be 26, 27.
26, 27.
Leia would be the same. But I think Han's supposed to be a good amount older than Luke.
Yeah, we can put Han in his 30s and put Leia and Luke in their late 20s.
Yeah. So 15 years later, I think it would be safe to say that they probably have at least a 4 or 5 year old by that point.
Yeah, 4 or 5 year old.
And I guess technically not most. The interpretation in the EU was that they had twins, which makes some sense because obviously twins run in Leia's family and they tend to be hereditary. But Kyle Ben, the EFAT meme, Kylo Ren or Ben Solo is, as far as we know, an only child. So there's interpretations of it both being one kid or twins. So I don't know. I think, though, that if it is twins, it almost becomes too hard not to go down the road of the EU and have it be that one of them becomes the good Jedi and one of them becomes the Sith or the Dark Jedi.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want it to go down that path. I was just looking at it from the standpoint of, do we add one of them as a character that can be used with a new cast of characters who will kind of be at the forefront of the new trilogy. I mean, I was kind of thinking if they had a kid that was 12 or 13, maybe that there's someone that will join in the second in the trilogy, or maybe in the last part of the trilogy. But I would want to focus on, and they do kind of have this in the sequel trilogy already. Like, I think Poe's character is a good character.
Yeah.
I think that, and his character is actually, I feel like his character is what's his name? Is one of those characters in the EU, one of the X-Wing pilots that's in all of that was in the Thrawn
Wedge
show.
Antilles?
Yeah, Wedge. Yeah, that's him.
He blew up the second Death Star.
Oh shit!
Him and Lando. It was Wedge in the X-wing taking out with the one of the big kind of reactors of the photon torpedo, and Lando behind him with Inyab and the Falcon.
I always just gave it to Lando. I gave it to Lando. I gave it to the brother. He's the one that blew up the second Death Star.
Well,
I don't know about all that Wedge shit, but I know Lando got him some of that Death Star ass. I know that.
Well, Wedge was the one in the first Death Star run that he got his X-Wing got shot in the ass, and he's just like, I'm out. Like, later, Luke. Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not gonna die. See you guys later. Fume pulls off.
I'm hit. I can't stay with you.
Yeah. So Wedge, I would put Wedge as the main character. I would have Lando kind of playing that same kind of support character that comes in probably in the second movie, because they're going to need to look towards him for some kind of resources that they may need to build up on to take on, whatever threat is coming. I mean, that's kind of his role, right? He's kind of the guy you go to when you need a little bit more, when you need a little bit extra in terms of your resources.
Yeah, he's good at management. I think that was pretty clear about his role on Bespin, because even in his in Empire Strikes Back, his betrayal of the rebels was done in the interest of protecting the society and the people that he was sort of responsible for. So I actually always kind of found that aspect of Lando interesting. It's just like, look, he's not a bad guy. It's just like he was put in kind of a tough position.
He was in a shitty situation, and he had to do what was best for for him.
Yeah, well, and then he came through in the end too. Like, he was eventually like, "Look, I had to do what I had to do, but now let's work on making things right."
All right, so we have Wedge as one of our main characters, and I kind of see, that's where I look at a movie like Force Awakens, and I say they did do a few things right with the characters. Finn is another good character who was used improperly as the sequel trilogy went on. I would want to have some kind. I feel like having a deserter from, but we're not operating in the world of a first order. So we can't.
Well, I mean, we could say though, if there is an enemy faction, which I think, it would be safe to say there probably would be. Even not necessarily a human enemy faction, but just an enemy faction with soldiers, which isn't a stretch and doesn't make it automatically the exact same thing as the Empire.
Yeah.
The idea of having a defector, someone that just the indoctrination or whatever they would use to get them to be loyal doesn't take, or the idea that they just have thoughts that are different from what they were raised with and think, hey, maybe what we're doing is not the right thing, and maybe what we're doing is wrong. Maybe I don't want to be a part of this. The trick about that, and the thing that Force Awakens, not even Last Jedi, got very, very wrong or handled very, very poorly, was that if you have an element like that, if you have a stormtrooper that can just see something as simple as a village getting slaughtered and just be like, oh, I can't be a part of this. Why is that not something that they're constantly having to deal with? That there's not tons of stormtroopers defecting all the time and being like, yeah, no, this is horrible. We don't want to be any part of this. And if Finn is an anomaly, why? And that's the thing that they've still never answered in the new trilogy.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing to
their indoctrination process should have immediately singled him out and probably executed him.
Or explain to the audience why it didn't work on Finn. Why is Finn special? And I think that you could very easily in a line or two say, I don't know what it is, but my entire life I've never really believed anything they've been telling me, and everyone around me just totally believes it all.
Yeah,
and where that becomes also very complicated is when you turn around and have Finn in the TIE fighter gunning down other First Order stormtroopers. If every one of them could have been just like him, it's hard to reconcile that, you know? Like, it's like, I don't know. Like, are they free-thinking individuals that have just all decided to be part of the First Order, or are they like mindless drones who it's okay with having the heroes like recklessly murder and have the audience be like, yeah, kill them all.
Yeah, 1 second he's at conflict with any kind of any kind of violent action, and then the next second he's committing violent action. Yeah.
Against people who like theoretically are his like brothers in arms, right? Like they're the people he grew up with.
Okay, so a deserter. I think an alien deserter maybe is a possible something to look at. Because now I'm starting to get this framework in my head of if we're going to create a as part of a sequel trilogy, I think the central conflict may cycle around something that begins as a political incident, an intergalactic incident from a political nature. Like if you look back at the older EU, one of the biggest issues in Spectre of the Past was an intergalactic incident between two alien races. I forget the names. That was, threatening to tear the New Republic that has just been formed, threatening to tear it back apart and push it into civil war. I think something along those lines, where you have a established New Republic that experiences some kind of intergalactic incident that causes tensions between already tense relationships amongst some of the alien races. Now, where things, that may possibly be retreading a little small part of the Phantom Menace, but I think that part of Star Wars, part of the greatness of Star Wars, is that you have conflict on multiple levels, from the Jedi level to the political level to the actual societal, like planetary level, where you have different races that have histories of tensions, and you have different of ideologies within those races on how to govern themselves. But when they're all being pulled into one democratic government, like you see it even in today's society, sometimes the democracy just doesn't work for some societies. And if you try to force that on them, then inevitably there will be a section of that society that will splinter off and then become hostile towards both their own societal members and the main governing body of the New Republic.
I have a thought about a race that could work for that. I'm wondering if because there was like content about them in Rebels that it might be too, but like almost the most obvious one would seem to be just the Mandalorians. Because if you think about the fact that they could be still sour about the fact that a Mandalorian person was cloned and then used as a tool to form the Republic that eventually became the Empire, and that now there's like another Republic that's come about, and they could be like, hey, like Jango Fett was one of our people, and our blood is the reason why all of you people have any of this. And now we've become this like splintered group of like people that are scattered around the galaxy and don't really have a home world. Like I'm not sure what the state of Mandalore is at by the mid-original trilogy.
As far as the Clone Wars go, Mandalore is a passive-aggressive or a passive government at that time in the Clone Wars. They've kind of been castrated from their warring ways. And in the original trilogy, they don't make much mention of them at all, outside of Jango being a Boba Fett being a bounty hunter. But they've been cast.
Even so, I think I've seen some of the best theories I've heard about Boba Fett is that he was not actually the Boba Fett who was the clone of Jango Fett, but a bounty hunter who killed the Boba Fett and just took his armor.
Yeah,
I heard some.
I thought that's what the canon was, is that he's not really a real Mandalorian.
Well, I remember that his real name in the EU was like Jaster Mariel, I think was supposed to be Boba Fett's like true name. And I don't know if it was supposed to be that he killed the Mandalorian known as Boba Fett, or if that's just what I might have heard that might have been what the Josh Trank Boba Fett movie that was supposed to be during the time slot that Solo eventually came out in. Because his movie got canceled after Fan Fourth Stick totally flopped.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, it's one thing that like I hate it when in my head I'll think of something like, oh, the Mandalorians seem to make sense because they've got some political issues that you could bring in and bring up in a conflict for a possible episode 7 that would make it. Yeah, Jaster Mariel is Jango Fett's surrogate father. Oh, interesting. I just in the chat Tiberius knows more about it.
Put it up there.
Oh, he's in the game Bounty Hunter. Yeah, I'm playing that right now. I guess I haven't got to that part yet. I'm only on like the 2nd level of Bounty Hunter though, so I don't know too much about it. But I did just get the jetpack.
I'm thinking about okay, so the Mandalorians are one. I put Mandalorians under conflict as one possibility. But
someone mentioned the Yuzon Vong. I know they were the villains in
those were the ones who were
later EU.
Those were the ones, I think those are the ones coming from the Outer Rim.
Yeah.
That Thrawn.
I think it was like beyond the Outer Rim, actually. Josh Chandler, what do you know about the Yuzon Vong? Type something in the chat for us. This is where we need Ryan back. He probably knows all about this stuff.
Well, no, the Yuzon Vong were those are the species of invaders that actually like have a hive mind.
They're like force resistant, right? Like they
have a hive mind, and the Chiss ascendancy is actually one of their biggest nemesis. And what Thrawn's actual mission is, coming into the Galactic Empire from the Outer Rim, was to assess the Galactic Empire and try to create an ally out of the Galactic Empire to take on the Yuzon Vong because of the threat that they will eventually pose to both the Empire and the Chiss. But I think you have to like go back into a lot of pulling around. You'd have to bring Thrawn into the sequel trilogy for that to be to be able to explain that the right way. But yeah, they're a techno-biological race. Whenever one of them, like if the Yuzon Vong gets a hold of your ship, they take everybody on the ship, and then they it's like a brainwash / indoctrination into the hive mind of their society. So it's like everything.
It's kind of neat. I actually remember there being a similar kind of species, at least from what it sounds like, on Star Trek Voyager. That was like almost like a biological Borg.
Yeah, it's like it's all hive mind stuff, right? So, I mean, that's something that's a possibility. So let me put them here. Now, one that I was thinking about was the Nogri. And I was thinking about the Nogri. Get your Thrawn with the Vong. And here goes our good buddy here, Stephen Walton. Stephen Walton's given me a lot of really good material to work with on this Fandom Menace Origins video essay that I'm going to be getting done. Stephen, I'm actually going to tease, if we get 100 people in the broadcast, I'm going to tease the a trailer of sorts for my video essay. It's about 1 minute, 42 seconds long. So if we can get 100 people in here, which is about 72 more people, it doesn't matter if it's for 5 seconds or 10 seconds, I will drop that teaser here live for everybody to take a look at, because I think it's really nice. So the Nogri, I think the Nogri could be a great fit for the main conflict within a new sequel trilogy, mainly because the Nogri suffered a great disservice during the time of the Empire. And this is coming from the EU. Darth Vader and Palpatine, the Nogri actually worshipped Darth Vader. They worshipped Darth Vader. Darth Vader basically tricked the Nogri into surrendering under the guise of helping to enrich their planet and enrich the use of their materials from the planet. Palpatine and Vader basically killed the planet that the Nogri come from. And the Nogri ended up, because of all of these machines that the Empire used on their planet to basically suck all the resources out of it, to suck all of the fertile land out of it, they basically killed the planet. And the Nogri, genetically, the Nogri race began to suffer with a lot of different genetic defects. And over the course of time, as you move forward, after post Palpatine and post Vader, Leia was actually marked for assassination. Thrawn actually sent the Nogri assassins to kill Leia. They ended up capturing one of the assassins, and that Nogri assassin was then educated into the fact that Leia is actually the daughter of Vader. And so at that point, he now flips and joins as a protector for Leia, and takes Leia to their planet, to the Nogri's planet, and basically flips the entire Nogri race from working with Thrawn to working with Leia. And they all call her Lady Vader. That's their name for her, and they have a very hiss-like sounding voice. So it'd be like most definitely, Lady Vader. So
what does that remind me of? It's gonna seem like a really weird poll, but the Transformers were their dinosaurs, the computer animated one.
Yeah. You're talking about
Beast Wars? Yeah. Beast Wars, right? The Raptor in Beast Wars.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Not like this.
Lady Vader. And, the Nogri were so low. The Nogri are unbelievably loyal, right? So these Nogri became like the nannies of Leia's kids. Like, they looked after the kids. Like, and they had like unbelievable stealth abilities. Like, these Nogri would come out of nowhere.
A race of assassins.
Yeah, they're a race of assassins.
Yeah, no, I mean, so is it that you want to use the Nogri as as one of the primary factions in our trilogy?
Yeah, I think the Nogri would be a great fit because it does kind of. I think bringing them in as an affected civilization from the time of the original trilogy that has now been given a more prominent position among the new empire, because now they have to. One of the biggest issues now is migrating that race from the planet they're on to another planet so that they can kind of repopulate and rebuild their society. And maybe we have a faction that's trying to interfere with that, that's being controlled behind the scenes by a new Sith Lord, or what is considered a new Sith force, or a new dark side force. Mm-hmm. So the Nogri, and this isn't putting any kind of political narrative into it, but the Nogri are now a homeless society that is looking to immigrate to a new planet.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I think that especially with the controversy that's been happening in modern Hollywood a lot, I think at certain points the plot of like I mean, the quote, like, we don't want politics in our movies or politics in our games thing is sometimes taken the wrong way. In that, because I don't think anyone, like, even like people that fight hard against this stuff, like I mean, most of us at Geeks and Gamers, like guys like Jeremy, I don't think it's that no politics at all is the point. It's that the politics should be the subtext, exactly, like be there. But if you don't want to be the foot that goes forward, and then the political message or the political parallels to our world or to our history, as you could say. I mean, people have made the argument that like the prequel trilogy has both some inspirations as far as like the rise of the Roman Empire out of the Roman Republic, or even the idea of it's probably one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. It's have you ever seen the video of Alex Jones explaining the prequels?
Oh no, but that would be amazing.
Oh my god, it's so funny because as insane as that dude is, his take on the prequels is actually pretty solid. And he basically compares it to like Dooku essentially being like an Osama bin Laden type character, and like Palpatine essentially being like a George Bush that is essentially taking away people's freedoms by getting them to rally against this Osama bin Laden terrorist character. And I'm just like, oh my god, Alex Jones, you're out of your goddamn mind, but your take on the prequels is actually amazing. Like,
that's what George Lucas said. George Lucas actually said that was the subliminal premise of the prequels.
Yeah, and I mean, what I'm trying to say is that is okay. Like, if those things organically, if real world events organically inspire artistic works, and you can read behind the text and see those things there's nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, like, that often makes people able to relate to the themes and subtext of your film much better than they would if it had no connection at all to anything that is tangible to us. Yeah. The problem is when they're very clearly stepping forward with the like politics is the point and whatever, there's a story, but like we don't really care about the story. That's the part that's like, no, just like exactly. Politics should exist as part of the world. It tells both sides and lets the audience exactly. Presenting the politics in a way that is relatively neutral, or maybe not necessarily neutral, even if it does like put the good guys on one side and the bad guys on the other, put it in a way that it doesn't seem preachy to the audience. You can watch the prequel trilogy and not ever think, oh, it's just like Bush and Bin Laden. Like, I don't think I ever thought that when I was like a teenager watching those movies. I don't think most of the audience that grew up with the prequels as kids ever was thinking, oh, it's just like George Bush. Like, it's not something people thought about. Whereas here, it's like with Last Jedi, it's pretty hard to see the whole thing that happens with like Holdo and Poe and not be like, okay, it's like it's a purple-haired tumbleite like putting her foot down because a man is like reckless or whatever. But even then, he's not. Like Poe kind of does everything right.
He wanted some info. He just wanted more information.
Well, even at the beginning when like Leia slaps him, it's like Leia, he took out the dreadnought. That if the dreadnought were still there once you did that first jump before you realized that you were being tracked, if the dreadnought came with you, that would have been it for the Raddus. Like the whole Rebel fleet would have been gone, or Resistance fleet, whatever. Even they mix up calling them the Resistance and the Rebels in that movie. My point is, Poe did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he didn't do anything to deserve to get slapped. That's for damn sure. All right.
Oh, 3PO's here. 3PO, do you want to hop on? I'll just rewrite the sequel trilogy.
Yeah. You want to hop on 3PO?
He's getting a bunch of hails.
Drunk 3PO.
I've actually never seen his icon. That's pretty good.
Fucking droid. What is that?
See 3PO just putting back a pint.
It's like a Guinness.
Poke up bunked.
So
Jedi Franklin.
We got I think Leia. I think maybe we do make Leia a part of the first movie in a as a forefront character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes. I like the idea of having the Nogri like worshiping her as the daughter of Vader.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the question is, does she tell them that Luke is the son of Vader, or does she try to keep that from them because she's worried about what they might do with that information?
No, they actually find out that he is the son of Vader, and they hail him the same way. They hail him, but they actually worship her a little more because they met her first.
Yeah.
So they worship her more because they met her first, but they also do show him his due respect, and they call him son of Vader. Yeah. They don't call them by their names. They just call them son and daughter of Vader, or Lady Vader and son of Vader. And then they call Han.
That was one of the cool elements of Force Awakens, like the idea of there being like kind of a cult of Vader, that like Kylo Ren had this like worship for just the image of what he thought Vader was.
Yeah, only to Kylo did it actually exist, but they didn't really actually play that into the movie enough to actually give it real weight.
Not really at all. They had him talking to a burnt helmet. They
called him Han of Clan Solo. That's what they called him. They said Han of Clan Solo. Okay, so we have
you're making me want to like actually not even read. I want to listen to these books because that voice of the Nogri sounds cool.
Yeah, oh dude, I love their voices. And they're like,
oh, someone in the chat got it, by the way. It was Dinobot was the name of the raptor on Beast Wars.
Oh, yeah,
which is also called Beasties. I think it depends on the region. I've seen it. The title card come up with both. So
son of Vader is Luke Skywalker in the EU to the Nogri. The Nogri address them as son of or Lady Vader and son of Vader. Leia is Lady Vader and Luke is son of Vader because they worshipped Darth Vader during their time working with the Empire.
Dark helmet.
But okay, so I have main cast or main characters that the story will revolve around centrally is Wedge, Leia, and a Nogri warriors or Nogri assassin. Assassin. I forget the names. What was the names? Their names were hard to pronounce. And I think maybe, as side characters or as supporting characters, you would have Chewie, Han, Luke.
Lando. Lando, you said second movie.
Yeah, Lando would come in the second movie. I think maybe you start this movie off as the first act of it revolves around the diplomatic side of Leia trying to position with the New Republic a way of colonizing or of migrating the Nogri race to another planet. And maybe in way of migrating them to that planet, they stumble upon some ancient ruins that may have been used as a base for Palpatine and Vader, a secret base that hasn't been visited in 15 years since the Empire has crumbled. And on that planet, they find some new technology. They find maybe a Sith holocron, some Sith holocrons.
We could probably, unless you want to, again, it's kind of retreading the one they revisit in Rogue One, but we could probably easily make that Mustafar. Especially if they if they're still going with like Vader having like a castle on Mustafar.
Which Mustafar wouldn't be a planet that Vader or that the Nogri would be able to migrate to, since it's a lava planet.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
Their planet originally was a lush planet, was a jungle style planet, and Vader had 12 different castles on different planets, if I remember correctly, with the EU.
Now, Kavan Kasada's got an interesting idea. Korriban.
Stumble
homeworld.
Stumble to Korriban from there you go. So they could identify Korriban.
Bring in the Maw from Dark Forces.
The Maw from Dark Forces?
Pretty sure that was the name of the ship that's at the end of the first Dark Forces game. Or am I getting that wrong? I think I'm confusing that with the Halo game.
Yeah. No,
too many video games in my head.
Okay, so we got Korriban as Nogri planet, Nogri replacement planet. And then we got Leia leading.
Oh, Maw installation. It's near Kessel, the Maw cluster.
Oh shit! Who brought that up?
Oh, it's the black holes, and it's like the thing they fly through in Solo. What do I feel like? Hold on a sec. I'm gonna search the Maw Halo because I feel like that was in a Halo game. Yeah, the Maw Halo 1.
Okay.
Boom. Yeah, the final campaign mission in Halo. That's why that was messing me up.
Okay, so Cyberus is saying that Korriban is no better than Mustafar. There's nothing there but desert and tombs. We can take a few liberties there, right? I mean, Mustafar is a lava planet, so I mean, you'd have to literally make it into something else for it to even be usable.
Yeah, desert. Like, I mean, Vegas is in the desert. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, we can set up Korriban as a planet that, you know, that they have identified as inhabitable through a revitalization of certain parts of the planet's core in order that will help it, you know, create fertile land for crops or whatever.
And Raven, love to see more Dash Rendar, Shadows of the Empire fame.
Oh, let me see. It says love to see more Dash Rendar. Marco Ragnoscos is the main villain.
Deserts have oh man, what's the plural of oasis? Is that oases or is it oases?
Oases. Man, we ain't found shit. Well, let me see. We could put down. Okay, so I would go with Leia's leading an expedition to Korriban to test for, you know, they've identified it as a place that can be they can use to repopulate the Nogri, and they can revitalize the core, thus making the soil useful for planting of crops. And there are natural springs that are also on the desert planet. So from there, they find a tomb that has not been, you know, we don't even have to connect it to Vader or Palpatine. We can just connect it to an ancient old republic from thousands of years before. Maybe even use possibly use that main villain from the newest DLC of the Old Republic.
Oh, that one I wouldn't be able to tell you. I really want Darth Treya to be in something at some point, so I was going to suggest her.
Well, we'll call it a Darth. We don't even have to use. We'll just call it a hidden Sith threat.
Okay,
but find the first remnants of, or they find remnants of an old Sith temple in a tomb within, near a part of the planet where they are having the expedition to start the repopulation.
Mm-hmm.
And Leia senses it because she is force sensitive. So she senses that there is a darkness or there is a coldness within the planet somewhere near where they are. And he knows what I'm talking about. The Sith Emperor. I forget his name from from the Old Republic, not Knights of the Old Republic.
We're not about Darth Bane.
Huh?
We're not talking about Darth Bane, right? Like the guy who invented the rule of two, or popularized the rule of two.
This cat is on the Old Republic MMO. He has the twin sons. One that was.
Oh, okay. Actually, I do know the one you're talking about, just because it has a really good trailer. I haven't played it though.
The Victorian cat, yeah. But I would say you start there, and in this first movie, you have Leia, the Nogri, and Wedge. Wedge is bringing a group from Rogue Squadron along with them for space protection. I was actually going to
ask if we were putting Rogue Squadron in the movie.
You bring Rogue Squadron, so you actually have we can have a cameo of sorts from it's a trap.
Akbar.
Akbar, yeah,
Akbar.
From General Akbar.
Rest in peace.
So he's now back in it.
We're gonna give him a hero's death if he dies at all.
And if he's gonna die, this is who it is: Sith Emperor Vitiate. That's who it is.
Now all I can think of is the Honest trailer with him pulling or not Honest trailer. The how it should have ended with him pulling the Holdo maneuver. Do you know what this is? What? Do you know what this is? And then he does the light suit thing, and it's like, it's a trap.
Hell yeah.
I might have to watch that when we're done streaming here. I wanted to edit my Sekiro audio, but I think I have to take a break to watch that part.
Okay, so I put down here that Leia senses a Sith presence, even though she doesn't know that it's a Sith presence. She just senses something familiar, something dark. And they find the tomb. A couple of Republic soldiers find the tomb. I would say, do they still wear? Are these Republic soldiers? Are they wearing Stormtrooper style outfits, like Clone Wars style trooper outfits, or
have they been there since the Clone Wars? Or are they like old Republic troopers?
Have
they been there thousands of years, or
I'm talking about the soldiers that come with Rogue Squadron to help with the repopulation.
I think it might be interesting if they sort of have a bit of a stormtrooper vibe to their armor, but as if someone was designing it being like, let's assume that the stormtrooper armor was actually effective.
Yeah.
the way it is like written in canon, but that you never ever see in the movies. That they made of the same type of, I guess you could say, designs, but they specifically wanted to be like, but let's not make it look like a stormtrooper. So maybe like the back has the same sort of kind of pattern that's on the shoulder blades of the stormtrooper armor, but that the helmet is very, very different. Not different the way the first order stormtroopers are different from the stormtroopers, but something new entirely.
Okay, yeah, I can dig that. I think you take off the helmet per se, or if not taking off the helmet. I think you make the visor
so you can see their face.
Yeah, so you can see their faces. Because I think you want to have a few of these, maybe 4 or 5 of these troopers kind of be slightly part of comic relief for the movie.
How about somewhere between a stormtrooper outfit and like Starship Troopers mobile infantry?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Where some of them have like clear visors, some of them don't have, some of them just have helmets with no covering on the face.
Yeah.
You can give like the big tough guy with a couple of quips here and there. You can have the more
that was sort of more like the clone troopers, how a bunch of the clone troopers had sort of their own little like variations of the stormtrooper armor, whereas the OT stormtrooper is pretty much all like the same.
Yeah, I think like that. You just have guys who wear different styles. Each one, you can tell the similarities between them, but they're different based on what they do. Like, you have a reconnaissance style trooper who obviously is probably going to have more of the
like camouflage pattern,
more camouflage, more tinted visor. Can't see their face. They're not wearing too much armor because they have to be able to move.
Well, we also like in the Canadian military, we have this like kind of a netting that we put over our helmets that we then tie like strings onto that are different colors that like eventually they unlocks that we call scrim. And basically what they're supposed to do is break up the shape of our heads so that if we're in like a bush, we just look like we're part of the trees.
Like bush. Yeah. So they'll have that kind of a look.
Yeah, like I think somewhere in between a stormtrooper look and a more like grounded military aesthetic, I think would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Siberius, I actually compared it to the Starship Trooper armor like a couple minutes ago.
Yep.
It's a great film.
So we take those soldiers and basically how it plays out is while it looks like there's like the process for repopulation is going to go well, once Leia senses this dark presence and they lead a small group into the cave to kind of scout the cave, that'll be the point when she starts to sense it. They're probably scouting the cave for a water source, and they stumble upon a Sith holocron or a Sith temple that has never been discovered. They stumble upon that temple. One of the more expendable troops grabs one of the holocrons and disappears into the cave, becomes possessed by the Sith essence that was inside of the holocron. So now, and I think this is kind of a cool twist, it's no longer it's not like a hidden dark force intergalactically, but now they're kind of in a what's that one horror movie?
I'll probably know it if you give me any hints.
The Cave.
Oh, it's The Descent.
The Descent. So now they're
girls that go cave diving. And there's the mole people.
Yeah. So now they go. They kind of descend into that temple, which takes up an entire mountain with the Nogri. So we'll give her 2 Nogri. We'll give her 3 soldiers. And we'll say that, some kind of communication has been sent back to the New Republic that there's trouble on the planet and repopulation. And it's a broken up message that they're not able to fully understand what it is. So they then make communications with Luke Skywalker to let him know that his sister is in trouble, and they're gathering, forces to go in to try and basically operate a rescue mission. So I would say from there, maybe they're in that cave for maybe part of the second act of the movie. The first act is the political decision to repopulate for the Nogri based on what's happened to the Nogri during their time of the Empire. The Nogri the Nogri send a caravan of soldiers and diplomats along with the New Republic soldiers and diplomats to this planet to begin the repopulation. That repopulation starts off going well. Leia's in contact with Han. She's in contact with Luke, updating them on the status as they're going, and they stumble upon this cave while they're searching for water sources, and that's where they run into a hidden Sith threat. And through a holocron, one of the soldiers is possessed and sucked deeper into the cave. Let's give that soldier something of extreme importance for the mission to be completed of repopulating the planet, maybe through that soldier having access to the data and information log that provides all of the rest of the entry points in the planet for repopulation, and so they have to go deeper in with him to find that soldier and get that that information. And that information is not on any network, because these are all analog data points that are self-contained within his data.
They're not leaving the planet.
So they can't leave the planet, or they won't be able to repopulate at all. Now with that, I mean, you can go. I mean, because how dark does it get before it's like, oh, this is a Star Wars movie?
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, it seems that is going to. Well, what I really like about it is it's a much more focused movie than any, like, obviously a new trilogy that's a retread of the old trilogies, and it's much more focused and just like seems like. I mean, like, is the entire movie taking place on this planet?
I think for the
because
first
I honestly think that would actually work quite well. Like.
I think maybe the first movie does take place on this planet now, and I'm thinking a little bit ahead, but towards the end of the movie, they find out, this planet cannot be repopulated. This was actually a Sith planet, a planet that was populated mainly by Sith and was one of the core planets of the old Sith Empire before the Republic, and they actually awakened a Sith, awakened the essence of awakened a sleeping Sith Lord, like who now through maybe was cryogenically frozen and was in a sleeping state until this possessed this possessed soldier awakened the actual the cryogenic chambers of maybe a 4 or 5 man Sith council. Sith.
So almost like kind of not Boris Karloff, like the Mummy, but like a sort of Star Wars take on like awakening an ancient evil from ruins that you didn't think you were going to be disturbing anything really, and
not necessarily waking like a mystical ghost like mummy, but this was actually a outpost or a planet, a Sith planet, where these during the first war between the Jedi and the Sith before the old Republic, before Darth who was it? Darth
Revan?
Darth Revan, that destroyed them all with one big super weapon. It was the
like from KOTOR, the original one.
Before, yeah. Before it was
the Star Forge.
The Star Forge,
the big weapon in that. Yeah, no,
I'm playing
through KOTOR.
Ended up wiping out the entire Sith race and a lot of the Jedi, and after that, that's where the Rule of Two began.
Oh, Darth Bane.
Yeah,
Darth Bane was the Rule of Two guy.
Yeah. So there was
It is a question we need Ryan for, because Ryan, I know, would get all of this stuff right, whereas I'm kind of piecing things together based on what I remember and the fact that I think I'm about 12 hours, 13 hours into KOTOR right now, like replaying it. Hold on, I got a question up here. So, who are the? Oh, okay. So, the girl in the bikini is from Richard Meyer's Iron Sights. It's one of the Comicsgate guys' comic books. And just below that, under like the Jawbreakers poster, is Liana K and Ed the Sock. Liana K is a YouTuber. Ed the Sock is kind of a sock puppet that like was on basically our equivalent of Much Music for years. And Liana K, who's like currently still a YouTuber that makes like gaming and comic book content herself, is his wife, like the puppeteer's wife, not the actual sock, obviously. But yeah, sorry. Now I just noticed that question there. Didn't mean to derail the thing, but I saw my name pop up and I was like, oh, am I ignoring someone in the chat?
Yeah,
that was for Shellback though. But yeah, okay. So here, you know what? I'm gonna look up Darth Bane and see if that was the one that we were talking about.
I didn't know it was Korriban. It was lost to history. Only the Sith and Jedi knew about it, and Luke finds out from Imperial records from the old Jedi Temple that races to Korriban knowing Leia's in danger. Yeah, I think that's kind of where it plays into, is that, you know, they awakened this small clan of very powerful Sith who were actually cryogenically frozen to reawaken after the long war with the Jedi. And once that happens, you know, now you have all kinds of new lightsabers. You have new styles of battle, Sith style, you know, like maybe lightsabers that are set like nunchucks. Lightsabers that have more of a fluid beam on them that can like move like it. And you know, these soldiers are now in a battle in close quarters battle with Sith, you know, with ancient Sith warriors, ancient Sith warlords, who you know, are now, you know, have now kind of tipped the scales and tipped the balance of the Force back towards the dark side. And, you know, a couple of the soldiers get slaughtered. The one who was possessed, he ends up being slaughtered once they are able to fully awaken themselves based on his you know, them possessing him and leading him to basically set the process in motion that takes them out of their cryo sleep. And like this person said, Revan broke up the order. Yeah, Revan broke up the order during one of the Mandalorian Wars. Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of. Or it might have been one before that even.
Well, Revan is a spoiler alert for Knights of the Old Republic. So if anyone has not played Knights of the Old Republic, don't listen to me here. He's the one you play as.
Oh yeah, you are Revan. You are Revan.
That is kind of a twist, though. That's one of the best twists in like any game ever. It's up there with like the ending of BioShock.
Yeah. But I think that once, you know, the real danger is seen in that, and Luke finds out about it by like Kaven said, going through the old Jedi records. He finds out that there was actually some hidden Sith outposts, Sith bases on different planets, one of them being Korriban. And towards the end of the first movie, he is just arriving, or he's just leaving for Korriban at the end of the first movie, and Leia and these soldiers have, you know, fought their way out of the actual enclave, but now these dark side, these Sith warriors, Sith warlords, are getting ready to awaken the rest of their troop. So they may have a troop of about maybe 40, 50, 100 soldiers who are not necessarily force sensitive, but are Sith acolytes.
Sith warriors, yeah.
So now these guys are going, their move is going to be to repopulate, take what Leia and the Nogri and the New Republic have brought to this planet and repopulate the planet with their soldiers and start, start winding back up that Sith war machine. And maybe that's where you pull out. Maybe that's where, or maybe Luke ends up getting to Korriban just in time to help them fend off those, some of the, he kills maybe one or two of the warlords, and they're able to actually escape the planet and make a hyperspace jump back towards Coruscant right at the end of the movie. So now they have a threat that is going to have time to start building in between the first movie and the second movie of the new trilogy.
That's good. And I like the idea of the first movie of the trilogy being centralized to one location and not trying to run around the galaxy and be like a large scale Star Wars movie the way even most of the original trilogy is. Because really, when you think about it, the original Star Wars movie, it's just Tatooine, Death Star, and like Yavin for 10 minutes and then like the space battle. Like for the most part, they're hardly on Yavin, really. Like they're there for a little bit and then they're off. Nothing really happens on Yavin. It happens back at the Death Star. They just go to Yavin for a little bit. And that almost seems kind of similar because basically you have a little bit of stuff happening. Like what are we saying? They're starting before they leave to go to Korriban on like Coruscant.
Yeah.
Like just wherever the Republic is. So we got an intro on Coruscant that say first, let's say 15 minutes of the movie. It probably wouldn't make it too much longer than that, if any, like maybe even less. And then have them get Korriban by Act 1, have Act 1, 2, and 3, and all the way up to the last little bit of Act 3 take place there, and then your space chase be the finale. That like them escaping
where you have a rogue squadron and a few more naval groups, naval fleets come in to try to rescue for a rescue mission to get them off the planet. Now, throughout the whole main part of the second act and third act, Rogue Squadron is in orbit above the planet with no ability to contact or locate Leia and the group of soldiers that are with her. So that's why they're not able to actually, engage in actual conflict to try and help them earlier on. They have no way of locating them based on, they're able to basically reach the first outpost that they started at. But now they've gone so far off when they got into this cave, or when they found this this Sith cave, that they aren't able to locate them, and they can't get clearance from the Republic to actually land and start a search and rescue mission. So they have to wait for another fleet to come in so that they can then go down onto the planet and will fuel be a vital element of the story. Yeah, fuck no. You have okay. There you go, get it. But no, definitely I feel like having that part of the movie. The second act is the red tape, the political red tape that won't allow for a fleet to be assembled and sent off towards Korriban to help them. That's what Luke is dealing with. So then Luke has to find a way to gather a couple of him, Han, Chewie, and a couple of we'll find a couple of EU replacements or EU soldiers to fill in the gap on that end, where he gets a couple to basically smuggle a couple of ships off planet and jump into hyperspace towards Korriban, going into the third act. or in the middle of the third act, or well, at the beginning of the third act, actually.
Yeah, because Zada's got a point there. We can bring in Kyle, have
Yeah.
Mara and Kyle be part of that
Bring in
group.
Mara and Kyle from the
From
Jedi Council, and now you have the Jedi and the Jedi and the Republic uniting again to, go in and save one of the obviously premier senators of the Republic and her small squadron of soldiers that are with her. So by the middle of the third act, they're approaching Korriban. They link up with Rogue Squadron. They begin to mount a rescue mission. As they're mounting the rescue mission, the Sith warlords begin to awaken, and Vishian can be the Sith master. He's the one in the Old Republic MMO. Vishian can be the master that's awakened. He awakens his general or his lieutenants and generals, and by the time they get to the planet, they're already beginning a conflict on the ground between the troops who are pinned down with Leia, trying to hold on for their rescue squad to come in so that they can evacuate the planet. There are Nogri there as well who are helping fight and fend off as much as they can, but you lose some of them. You lose some of the soldiers, and they barely escape with their asses at the end of the third act. They hyper jump, or they jump back into hyperspace, back towards Coruscant. And while all of that's happening, now Vishian is basically awakening his entire Emperor's fleet, which has been laid dormant on the planet for thousands of years. So now you have all of these, maybe let's say thousands of soldiers on that planet, and they begin their process of ramping up for war to begin conquest over the galaxy. And now you have your major threat that threatens the sovereignty of the Republic yet again. And again, you got Han, Chewie, Luke. They're all together. They rush in to help Leia. They get Leia off the planet. And, that pretty much ends that first movie, where now they're back in sort of a political mode where they're talking about this threat, and part of the Republic doesn't deem it a threat, as they usually do. They say, "Oh, this isn't big enough for us we have enough problems. We don't need to worry about some offshoot planet where there are some rabble rousers that were kicking up some dust. Let's just find another planet for the Nogri, and let's continue our business as usual as the Republic," while Leia is trying to explain to them the urgency of the situation, bringing back into play the entire Sith threat, to which the Republic looks at that as sort of a mythical, religious, I
think it would be interesting to bring up the fact that even the modern history of this Republic would only think of the rule of two type of Sith. So
yeah.
saying no, you don't get it. There's a Sith army, and then they'll be like, oh, so what? Another two of them?
Yeah, Sith Emperor with his
Jedi now. It's no. We've got Sith that are pre-rule of two guys.
These guys, they believe
the old school Sith.
They believe in numbers over just a master apprentice. So now you have Vishian, and you have his fleet, his Emperor's fleet, and this guy has an ultimate control of the Force, like Megatron is saying here. He's like a god of the Force. Old Sith Empire reawakened. Clones of droids. Call to action to all the galaxy. Yeah. So now you have the second movie, and I mean, we're not going to go all the way into the details of the second one, but just the bare bones of it for tonight. The first act of the second movie would be the race to prepare for war. So now Leia, Luke, Lando is brought into it. You're going around to assemble all these different factions of the galaxy to let them know about the threat. And you have to prove that there's a threat. You have to be able to be able to politically offer some of these planets some benefits in order to get their support to try and go and eliminate this threat before it can build up to be something that is, somewhat of a juggernaut in the same respect as the Empire was.
Yeah. Well, and I like the fact that means this second episode, or our episode 8, can serve a similar function that Attack of the Clones did for the prequels, in that it can be the one where a Cold War, or a war that we aren't really sure if it's happening or not. Am I frozen again? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're frozen a little bit. Yeah, you're frozen. I can hear you.
You can hear me though. Okay. Yeah. Is my camera gonna die out on me again? That's what happened last time with this. I got such a funny look on my face right now. It sucks. All right. Well, I'm going to mostly try to keep the same pose so that I can play it off when it comes back. But what I mean is it can serve a similar function, that it can actually set up a war that can then get kicked off at the end of that movie. So basically, like the way I would see it would be episode 8 ending with it essentially becoming impossible to argue with the fact that the Sith threat is real, and that they're essentially striking a blow that is going to be like so unbelievably damaging that
I think destroy Kashyyyk.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, like a planet that we actually care about and that we've seen before. But maybe not even necessarily. Yeah, I look like the thinkers. Not necessarily destroy it with like something like a Death Star weapon, but like troops on the ground just slaughter the entire population of the planet, like not enslaving them.
That quick, you don't make it that quick. Just boom, and it's gone.
Yeah,
they go in,
overrun
the entire planet. They destroy parts of the planet through warfare. They enslave other parts of the planet, but there's no doubt that this planet is under their control fully and completely. And there is no, there's basically, there will be a genocide, and the Wookiee race as we know it will be wiped off the planet. And
I 100% agree with that. I'm just swapping the batteries in my camera, so if you can't hear me, I apologize.
Planetary bombardment, and boots on the ground, exactly. So now Kashyyyk is a planet that everyone in all of Star Wars fandom knows and loves that planet because of the Wookiees and because of the struggle that they've had and that they've overcome to keep control of their planet. I think also that gives us some time on the Wookiee planet. Maybe we lose Chewie in the second movie.
Oh man,
that could be a big move. Maybe Chewie dies in the second movie in the first major conflict to try and retake Kashyyyk. Chewie sacrifices himself to try and turn the tide of that battle, and while it doesn't work, the sacrifice is noble. The sacrifice is a huge, gives the Republic and gives Han and Luke and Leia the ability to maybe escape with their lives towards the end of the second movie. And I would just make the third movie just pure conflict, like conflict from start, to finish, with pauses in between for strategic planning, and then a final reckoning between the Sith and the Jedi when Luke has to take on Vitiant himself. And I mean, we can get into more details on another stream, but I think that would be dope.
It sounds so much better than the current sequel trilogy that I'm sad now. You made me sad. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep, Uche.
Yeah, and I mean, even right here,
Actually, honestly, I just kind of want to play more Knights of the Republic now. I know I got like the next few days, I really got to be working on my Sekiro video so that my channel actually has some content for once in the last month. But I think though that like basically tomorrow I'm getting like a little thing cut off my knee, like nothing really serious. It's this like little like essentially like a pimple. It would be like a just day surgery where I wouldn't be off hardly at all if it wasn't for the fact that it's like where I attach my leg. So I'm the plus side is I'm off work for the next like week. I'm just gonna be rolling around here in a wheelchair, but I can get a fair amount of editing done, and I think the rest of the time I'm just gonna be lying in bed playing Knights of the Republic and Bounty Hunter and trying to catch up on my Geeks and Gamers stuff.
And I think also as part of the second movie, you could bring in somebody like Card, who is a big time smuggler who's also connected to Han in the EU. Card can be brought in.
Yeah, he's in Heir to the Empire also.
Yep, you can bring him in.
He's connected to Mara as well too. Yeah, he's the one that's like on what planet
he was
Mara's
boss.
Yeah, the one there where Thrawn shows up and he's I will be on wheels for the next few days. I have I don't know if you guys saw my leg as I was reattaching it there, but this is what my robot leg looks like.
Cyborg leg.
It's when it's not attached, I roll around in a wheelchair. When it is working properly and attached, I'm fairly fit as far as amputees go, but wheelchair wise, it's just
get it how you live, man. Sometimes rolling is better than walking.
Yeah. You gotta just make sure not to eat too much pizza or anything. I learned that when I was recovering. It was the problem with living with a girl who didn't know how to cook very well, and you being in a situation where you couldn't really get to, because like especially when I'm in the wheelchair, I've got like what remains of my limb just kind of sticking out in front of me, so it's hard to like get to the stove to cook.
Blocking the way.
Yeah, so I had like 6 months of her just like basically ordering shitty food, and like it didn't go well. I had to lose a fair amount of weight once I was able to like start moving around again.
Yeah. No, I believe it. But no, dude, I think we've got a solid first movie. I think we've got the framework for the second and the third, which are fucking already 100 times better than what they have right now at Disney.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, it's what I say to everyone that like, I mean, I'm not like an expert writer or anything like that, but anytime I have a film degree and I actually did make a movie that is on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. It's like an action horror movie. But what I always tell to everybody is to try to keep the focus of the movie smaller and like shorter, and try to do like keep your eye on the prize, I guess would probably be the way to put it. Because I find that most movies now, their biggest problem is that they're trying to do too much, because they're just thinking, oh man, like we've got to make this bigger and better and like more complicated and have more characters and more plot threads and more things happening. And it's like, guys, if you do 20 things half-assed and don't fully cook any part of your meal, you have just a bunch of undercooked food. Like it's a 5-course meal, but nothing's cooked right. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you just have like an appetizer and a main, but they're really good, everyone's gonna walk away from that dinner being like, when can I come back?
And I mean, here we are. We sit here for 3 hours, and we got, really, we only spent about an hour and a half really detailing it. But I mean, I would love to make a movie like that. I mean, you have, you start off with, Coruscant. You're on Coruscant. You have all of the nice, visuals of that, the computer, generated landscapes, the diplomatic side, first act where you're talking about the basically the sins of the father, with how Vader and Palpatine ruined this society's ability to procreate through the use of their machinery and their techniques of mining and stripping the planet of its natural resources. And now the New Republic has to find a way to preserve this society, preserve this species,
make amends to them,
make amends to them. And this species is totally willing to play ball, and they are somewhat, they're absolutely still loyal to the bloodline of Vader.
Yeah.
By showing their allegiance to Leia and to Luke.
And also they're kind of badass too. So like they're hard done by and they're on hard times, but they're also not just like innocent victims who just need to be protected. Like they've got like they are kind of like a small scrappy race of like assassins and warriors. So like I don't know, it's really cool.
Yeah,
like that was a good that species was a very good poll.
Yeah, they have their own way or rites of passage. They have their own traditions and their own style of living, and they're very proud and they're stealthy and they are very crafty and in stealth warfare. And that's something that will be pointed out throughout the progress of the movie. And then you go from that Coruscant, high society, amazing architecture, technologically advanced society into a more desert yet still somewhat jungle-like world of Korriban that has a lot of dark patches that contain things that have never been seen before in the Star Wars universe. And that's where you bring in this aspect of a return of the dark side of the Force through this unknown, unfound Sith temple, Sith outpost
society, really almost
society that's been laying dormant, that has been in a cryo freeze for thousands of years, unbeknownst to the Republic, unbeknownst to the Jedi, unbeknownst to everyone. They stumble upon it, not knowing what they've stumbled upon. In the process, and like I said, even before that, everything is going according to plan as far as repopulating and revitalizing the land of Korriban. And from there, once they stumble upon this, now that's where you get into a sort of an action thriller aspect where you have a group, Leia and her group trying to first find out what the hell they stumbled upon. Secondly, trying to find a lost member of their group who has, essential and paramount information for them to be able to continue their process of repopulation. And then they're in utter defensive mode, utter fight or flight mode once they are basically ambushed by this awakened Sith Force. And, Leia is having to reach into the Force to be able to help protect and help fight with the soldiers she's with, and then also reach out in the Force to try and warn Luke and tell Luke that they're in trouble, because Luke may, at the onset of it, Luke may not be totally in the loop. He's training new Jedi. They have a new Jedi temple.
Yeah, he's got other things going on.
And, he's made aware of a loss of contact, and they don't have any way of really knowing what's going on or where she is. But then he's alerted in his meditation. He's able to get a very slight contact with her during, let's call it, a downtime in the tension on Korriban. She's able to get into a meditative mode where she then is able to just barely contact him and tell him that they're in danger. And so then, look at this, Uche-versal Studio.
Yeah. And Shellback also said, Mark, don't let them catch you riding dirty. Here's the thing. I live in a country where cannabis is legal, even for members of the military. So
wow. Bastard.
They're really sweet, too, because it's just 8 hours before a normal work day. So theoretically, you can get high anything at work 24 hours before deployment to an operational environment. So like if we're going to handle firearms or like drive a D&D vehicle, a Department of National Defense vehicle. And within 8 hours means that if you're on a high readiness team where you're response time is supposed to be under 8 hours, that's when you get a little bit of a tricky situation and you have to get people to like cover you and stuff. But for the most part, when you gave the rules, I was just like, oh yeah. It's not bad. But yeah, that's why everyone should move to Canada at this point. Oh wait, no, hold on, wrong one. This flag right here. I got the mirrored camera thing happening here. I'm forgetting which side my tattoo. Dark Souls and Bloodborne on that side, military stuff over here.
I got my Star Wars stuff on this arm.
Yeah, see, it's weird. You're like, I'm backwards here.
Maul and
Maul,
then second.
yeah.
And then,
I don't see that. I definitely see Maul. I can't really make out the other one. The focus is a little off.
It's upside down. There's the disc or the beam for the second. It's just the second.
Oh, okay.
Not built out all the way yet.
Huh, nice.
And then I got the Stewie Darth Vader.
That's good.
On that arm.
You should get Nerdrotic to introduce you to Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, for real. He met him, right?
Yeah. He was talking to him about Orville.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Gary, he covers Orville a lot, so that makes sense. And that's not a show that gets tons of coverage from like even alternative media. So I think it was pretty cool that Seth MacFarlane was like, hey, yeah, we'll do an interview.
Hell yeah. All right, so I think we got our first movie. Our first movie kind of set. We set that one up. We set up the structure of the second and third.
Yeah, no, I almost want to see if we could donate to anybody to get a transcript of it because I'd like to go over it in text.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't have the time to do it myself. If I didn't have so many videos to be working on.
I might work on that. I don't even know how to write a script, but I might do it. I'm good at writing essays.
Well, I'd say your best bet would be to listen to this stream and try to take notes on the exact flow of events. Write it out in bullet points first so that you have all your events there. Yeah, then try to write it out in prose. So like a story, the way you would read it in a book, just almost as an essay. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I mean, if you want, I could send you some notes on or resources on how to do screenplay format if you want to actually write it out like a screenplay. Yeah, but the tricky part there is dialogue, though. That's one thing I was never even very good at. Writing dialogue is tough because you got to be thinking every time you're writing another character's lines. You can't be thinking of what they're saying as what you would say. You have to create another brain for that person to be like, what would this person be saying that like? And that's where it gets tough. But also the one thing I learned about making a zero budget movie is your script will be especially if you're getting people to act in it who are just your buddies, not actual actors. Mm-hmm. They will get 40% of what you actually wrote down on paper, and then they're gonna swear 5 times more than you ever intended. So if you watch the movie I made, Fear the Reaper, it's on IMDb and everything. You can look it up. It's a 2010 action horror movie, and there's probably about 7,000 F words in that movie. I probably wrote 4 of them.
We gotta fucking move right fucking now.
Well, no, because I'm serious. Every single one of my friends, they're delivering their lines and they're like, fucking, I'm telling you, man, this fucking thing is fucking. And I'm just like, oh, guys, you're swearing. You're throwing so many F-bombs. Well, and I mean, at the same time, you don't want to be doing that, and you'll be there all day, and especially if you, it was when I was in my early 20s, living in Toronto, having a bunch of people that were bartenders and retail employees, just in their spare time acting in my movie for 8 hours straight, 12 hours straight on one night. So I didn't want to have them there for 40 takes. I would try to get them in and out as quick as I could and then piece together the movie with whatever I could do. But there's some decent action scenes in it, and I got set on fire for it.
Wow.
That was a fun time. That was back when I had 2 legs, though. I throw a bunch of good right leg roundhouse kicks in it, and now my right leg's the one that's gone.
Yeah. I mean, shit, you got the cyborg leg there now. Shit, that'll hurt a cat worse.
Yeah, you'd think. Although I can't point the toe, and I think throwing a roundhouse with like a right-angled foot would be weird. I still do jiu-jitsu now. Like even actually in one of the videos on my channel now, there's the Get to the Orange Door. If you look on my channel, there's a video called Mark the Cyborg Takes Aim at Get to the Orange Door. It's like an indie first-person shooter game that's actually really cool. It's kind of like Titanfall 2 mixed with like Max Payne almost. There's like slow motion stuff and wall running. But
you got to send me the link to all that stuff so I can take a look at it.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll send it to you in the chat. Although I think you can't send links in YouTube chat. I'll really just have to send.
No, just put it on our Messenger chat.
Cool. And but there's a little clip of me fighting in it, and I fight without my leg on. So like it's kind of jiu-jitsu is one of the things I can still do because it's like you're on the ground while you're doing it. It's just like grappling. So and I started kind of doing that even before I ended up losing my leg, because once you pass like 25, you probably would know this better than me playing football. Getting rocked in the head starts to get to you after a while. So you don't want to be kickboxing into your 30s.
Oh no.
That's the kind of thing that you wake up a couple times during the week and you feel like you were drunk even though you were totally sober and just went to go work out like by going to kickbox at a given night. But you're just oh man, I got kicked in the head like 4 times and now I feel like I'm hungover even though I had very little fun. Grappling's good though. Grappling, if you start getting hurt, you just tap out and that's it.
I mean, I did boxing for like a year and almost 2 years with professionals after I retired.
There you go.
Because I love boxing. So I mean, I actually like these guys were like 11-0, 12-0.
Oh geez.
Same height as me. I was, obviously bigger than them, but they were shocked because I was faster than they were. I was quicker with my feet. I had quicker feet, quicker hands.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess if you do like NFL training camps, like that's.
Oh yeah, offensive lineman is like being in a boxing position the entire time when you're pass protecting.
Man.
So like you're shooting your hands. We do boxing drills where you actually have your hands up and you shoot them like back and forth like that, and you like you have to be able to react when a hand gets knocked down, when it gets pulled up. You have to keep your head. You have to be able to move keep your torso balanced.
Yeah, it sounds like the exact same skill set as boxing.
Yeah. So I mean, I was really, we had a professional trainer. I sparred twice a week. The most I ever did sparring was 9 rounds. Head gear on, dude. And dude, 9th round, I couldn't even breathe by the 9th round. I was like, I was swinging in the last 30 seconds of the 9th round, and I swear to God, purple dots, everything. And I was just like,
it's lots of fun. Like striking arts, especially, tons of fun while you're doing it. But it's the next day that, especially like when you're a teenager, it's totally fine. Like you can get hit in the head a bunch of times. It doesn't really matter. But like once I started like rounding 27, 28, I would just start feeling like, oh my God, everything hurts.
Once your body gets a little bit older, over that 25-year-old spot or 27 years old, once you get past that,
Well, yeah, no, it's one of the, I think actually the funniest thing would be if you and I sparred, because it was just like we were talking on the I think it was Nerdrotic stream on Friday about Eddie Murphy. The like the Rocky bit. It's like I'm a 550-pound Italian kid. And like it would be the kind of thing that like getting out of Rocky movies is just like, yeah, man, let's start like shadowboxing and stuff. And then it's like, I can knock out this Apollo Creed looking guy, but then I go up against you and it would be like, oh, this isn't gonna work. I can be the fastest hands in the West, and I'm not landing a single hit on you.
You know what I mean?
And clock you in the chin, and you'll just be like, what the fuck you do?
Okay, so
size matters when it comes to boxing, especially.
So I am about to have to jump off of this stream, but before me and Mark the Cyborg and Mark, I appreciate you so much for being on, dude. It's been a great time.
No worries, man. It was a great time
with you. Definitely want you to come on the next one. But before we do go, I am going to tease my next Geeks and Gamers video essay. Even though we didn't make it to 100, I still appreciate everybody who stayed in the chat, who stayed in the broadcast, has hung out with us through this through our own original brainstorming of our own sequel trilogy for Star Wars, I am going to be sharing my teaser, which is about 1 minute and 42 seconds of my next video essay for Geeks and Gamers. So let me pull it up real quick. Oh, hold on. That's sharing it, right? Can you see that?
I see a starry sky.
Okay, yeah, that's it. All right. So let me go ahead and let's get this down so everybody can see it. This is the teaser. I'm gonna start it. Tell me if y'all can hear it. I don't know if it's gonna come through this, but let me.
Yep.
Get into sort of another stage of life where I'm not in the film business anymore. It occurred to me one day that the perfect person to take over the company was just such a perfect fit. And I felt that I really wanted to put the company somewhere in a larger entity which would protect it.
The main thing is to protect these characters, make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them, and that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
Hopefully it'll be an inspiring package of entertainment that it's always been well in the future.
It makes me so sad.
And that is it.
Good job, man.
Appreciate it, man.
That music was haunting, and just oh man, hearing that Kathleen Kennedy speech that I've heard so many times, like in the context of like the George Lucas news, I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, and that's I kind of
lying
want
right to his face.
you know. Now that we have, you know what? I want to play it one more time because I mean, dude, I was getting hyped just watching it. I was like, but they don't know what comes after that title screen. Oh, let me play it one more time. Let me try and share it one more time. I really want.
Is there any way you can crank the volume?
Crank it up.
A lot of the reason I was able to even understand that is because I've seen that interview a bunch of times.
Okay.
Like it was definitely quite low. I don't know how everyone in chat was.
I'm gonna turn it up on my desktop speakers here, and hopefully, was everybody able to hear it?
I don't know if the chat was hearing something different than me because I'm hearing it through StreamYard.
Yeah. All right, let me hit it again. I'll try and turn my mic a little bit so y'all can hear it if you don't.
That's definitely louder.
I wanted to get into sort of another stage of life where I'm not in the film business anymore. It occurred to me one day that the perfect person to take over the company was it's just such a perfect fit. And I felt that I really wanted to put the company somewhere in a larger entity which would protect it.
The main thing is to protect these characters, make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them, and that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
Hopefully it'll be an inspiring package of entertainment that it has always been well into the future.
Do we have a release time frame?
This week.
Oh, really? So it's like almost done.
Yeah, I'm almost done with it.
Oh man. But yeah, I'm hoping to have my Sekiro video done by Friday so that I can go see Joker and relax. But yeah, who knows? Although with like not having to be at work, I should be able to finish it relatively quickly. Though sometimes it takes me a long time to pull all the footage from like clips of movies and TV shows and stuff I need for B-roll. I have some pretty funny gags that's lined up for this one though, even though it's a fairly serious game. But
Okay, yeah, hell yeah, man, hell yeah. Well, definitely appreciate you, Mark. Everybody, Mark the Cyborg. I appreciate you. Everybody who has been hanging out with us this evening on the live broadcasts. Appreciate you guys. Anything you want to, so you got your project coming up with your next video. Anything else you want to tell everybody about before we get out of here?
no, I mean, if you guys want to hop over to youtube.com/MarkTheCyborg, or you can probably find me just through the Geeks and Gamers links. I've crossed 1,000, so I'm pretty much at the same stage as Uche is, where I just need the watch hours to get monetized, and that's pretty much the only place I want to be. I haven't put a video up on my own channel in a month because I did 3 in a row for Geeks and Gamers, all on Star Wars games. I've done Republic Commando, The Force Unleashed, and Jedi Outcast. The game that I'm going to be doing this week, that I'm hoping to have done by the end of the week for my own channel, is Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is my current game of the year. It's a ninja action game that is amazing. Very difficult, but it's very good. It's worth the challenge.
All right. Well, we'll look out for that. Definitely looking forward to getting this Fandom Menace Origins out to the people. But yeah, we appreciate you guys. Oh yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. But yeah, we're looking forward to all that. We're looking forward to a very bright future with Geeks and Gamers. But that's going to be the end of this broadcast, guys. We appreciate you guys, everybody who stayed in. And we will holler at you guys on our next videos coming from the Observant Lineman and Mark the Cyborg. You guys take care. Peace.
Later, everybody.
All right.